I'm not in a headspace because Jay, like.
Hold on. Let me get some. I gotta clean my glasses before you start. You already started recording?
Yeah.
Stop the recording real quick. I'm gonna get your ass in a second, though. So, just for the sake of recording right now, repeat what you just said.
I'm not in the headspace to lead someone in to getting to know me. I'm not.
And that's bullshit. And it's a lack of accountability. And it's a lack of effort, right? Because we wouldn't be having this conversation and you wouldn't be telling me about it if you didn't halfway like the dude.
I don't know him well enough, Jay. But what I do know is...
I mean like, you said that if he called you or wanted to reach out to you, you wouldn't turn him down, which means that there's a basic level of interest.
Basic.
Right. So that's where both of you are. He don't know you just as much as you don't know him, so it's still a basic level of interest.
Okay.
So who cares who reaches out to whom? We talked about this last time. Like
it's not that part though.
No, that is what you just said. It's I don't want to lead. That's what anybody has to do. If you want him to get to know you, you got to lead him into it because only you can give the information for him to get to know you.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
So maybe I'm not ready.
It had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with he wasn't the one calling you first.
No.
Then why didn't you just call him?
Because what I've experienced, and this is my experience, with a man who is not settled, the energy, I will give off more energy in a relationship building than I need to at this point in my life.
You just got done saying you don't know him.
Exactly.
So why are you generalizing him?
Because
what?
I've been down that man getting established road for 10 years.
You haven't been down there with him, and you don't know his level of stability not being established. You don't know him. You just got done saying you don't know him. So you're projecting. Mm-hmm. You're projecting everything from whatever last situation it was on him, so that you don't have to put forth that effort. And the reality is this. You can be with somebody who's completely stable and still go through the same shit you went through last time. But you can't put that on him. You say, oh, well, he's not. No, you not. If you not ready, then say that.
Okay, then I'm not ready. I need some lotion. I'm going to go live. Give me 2 seconds. I need some lotion. My hands are 5 o'clock. Hurry up, Mo. All right. It's 5 o'clock on the dot. I'm not in my drop top. I'm not.
7 o'clock on the dot.
Oh, but it's 5 o'clock today. All right.
It's 7 o'clock where I am.
7 o'clock on the dot. You're in your house, and we are going live. Whew. Bless the Lord. Bless the conversation, the dialogue, and the wisdom and insight you give for your people. In Jesus' name, I declare wholeness. Okay. Dialogue with Mo. And I'm tagging you in this at Jason. And communication. All right, it's public dialogue with Mo. We're going live. I'm going to open up my Facebook so I can see the comments. Make sure everything is off. All right, okay, Jason, we are live. We are live. I'm looking to pull up the comments. We are live. We're recording. And here we go. Okay. Get excited. Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm still that conversation.
Oh, I'm looking. I mean, there's so many intersections of communication, not just what we talk about. I'm turning my phone on do not disturb because people like to call. Like, are you live? Yes, we are. You can see us on Facebook Live. I'm going to share it in one other place, and I just heard a feedback.
No, it hit open. I had to close that. That was my fault. My
Okay.
bad.
Yeah, I'm like, you guys scaring me. I'm like, I'm trying to get this stuff together.
No, that was on me.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so going.
So do you want to start off with sharing your takeaway from
I want to start off by sharing what?
that by sharing the conversation that the people missed, and what's your takeaway over those 5 minutes?
Jason, this conversation is about you and how you are a booming author and a transformational strategist. And speaking from the male point of view, hi to the people. I see the people as you're coming on. Please say wave, say hi, let us know you are there. And we look forward to dialoguing with you. Hey, Andrea, we're going to talk to Andrea in a few moments. Hey, hey, hey to the people. I'm trying to see if I can see who's on. Let us know you are there. Okay. And we look forward to hold on, not this one. Hey, Andrea, we're going to talk. There it goes. That was me this time, Jay.
Okay.
Okay, I was trying to see if I could see the people.
Hear the comments. You might get some feedback, and I have to mute it real quick.
Okay, no worries. I see April. Hey, April. Nice to see you, April. Missing you. It's been a moment. We've been sheltering in place for quite a while, and get excited. What's next? What's next?
Your recap. Don't you still you still trying to don't run from it.
So people, we're talking about relationships and communication, but we're starting with what I call the reveal, like you, the person, because you, the person, is what makes that sets the stage for the relationship. And how often do we talk about getting to know you and spending time with you for a better opportunity to come together and what I call meet and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So I have gone back and forth, and I can't wait for Frank to get on here because he swears up and down I'm ready to get married. And sometimes I think I am, and then Jay, sometimes I'm like, I can't do dating. Dating is just me, and dating just don't work out. Like,
how are you ever gonna get married if you don't date?
I know. That's what I'm like. I need to make a decision.
So what is your hang up? One thing.
He's trying to get me to say it, people. We're getting started already.
You struggle with accountability. Let's just start there.
Accountability, Jay. What? That is not a fair statement.
Struggle with effort and accountability. That is
no, that is not a fair statement because I require that everybody bring equal their share to the table and me not have to set the whole damn table for you to come sit down and dine.
No, you never even went to the table to find out what needed to be brought.
But you don't have to. You can see what it's going to be if the.
No, you cannot. You can't use the excuse of he doesn't know me because that was your statement. He doesn't know me, right? Did you say that? Yes or no?
Probably. I don't remember, Jason.
Yes, you said that. So if he doesn't know you, then you also don't know him to sit there and make a fair assessment to say, oh, I can see. No, that is fear. And as long as you can say, you can take that little nugget, the stability thing, when you don't know his level of stability or lack thereof, all you heard him say was a statement that wasn't said to you, it was said to someone else. You took that nugget as a comfort blanket to have an out as to it. Well, there goes that one.
Yep.
Instead of and put forth some effort.
Hey, Trina. Hey, Biba. Biba's my best friend from back in the day. She knows me well. Hey, Sasky.
Get your girl. Oh, self-sabotage himself.
You know what? And I'm going to be honest with you. I think that is the truth. I believe one of the last potential relationships I had, I did self-sabotage. But to me, I do have a belief that all things work together for the good. So even though I may have started to self-sabotage, clearly the level of interest wasn't mutual.
Don't try to use the word to validate that shit. Don't do that.
That's not true, Jason.
No, because
all things do work together for your good.
No, it doesn't. For them, what's the whole scripture?
For them who love the Lord and who are called according to his purpose. I'm called according to his purpose.
Right, but you got to operate in that purpose, and that's not what you're doing. You find an excuse.
So dating ain't the purpose then. And I need to just like take it out my mind.
No, see, here's the thing, and we got to stop doing this as Christians and everybody. We'll take a bad decision and say, "Oh, I guess it wasn't meant to be." No, you made a bad decision.
Okay.
That's just how this thing works. Like, yeah, it'll work together for good for those who make the right damn decisions.
Oh, it don't say that in there. Don't make me go pull out my concordance.
So what you're saying is this: God will be like, God can explicitly tell you, right? Do this. You don't do it. And then you're like, oh, but it's all going to work together for good, even though I was disobedient. No.
That's the backup plan. That's the fail-proof plan. Hi to the people. I see Aaron, your frat brother's on. Hey, Cassandra.
All things are going to work together for good because it also says the wages of sin is death, right? That's very clear on cause and effect. So the circumstance is the effect of the decision. So you can't say, oh, but it must not have meant to be. It wasn't the will of God because you're assuming that you're in the will of God.
Okay, now we can talk about the will of God. And what I'm saying, so Jay, so we're starting. Hey, Tari. Tari, we're not going, I got some of my good girlfriends on here that know me really well. So, Jay, I feel like I got a little bit of backup. But they love me and I love them and they are very truthful. And so what we're talking about today, and I guess let's introduce yourself, even though the people know you, but what we're talking about today is, we call it The Reveal. Jason is an author. He is a transformational strategist, and his book, Hello Me, Nice to Meet You, is, I think, really on point and on time. It's not about relationships and communication. It's about personal development, and he'll share more about it. But the question really is, how can you have a great relationship and great communication if you don't know yourself?
You can't. And that's, the reality is, one, if you don't know yourself, right? You can't even have an effective relationship with yourself if you don't know yourself. You are a person, and sometimes you act as an individual in a duality, right? Getting to know yourself and have to develop that relationship with yourself. And it's no different than developing a relationship with someone else. But what are those components of developing that relationship? You have to be authentic. You have to be honest. You have to be transparent. You have to be accountable. All these facets that you expect from other people to have a healthy relationship, you have to do for yourself as well. And that's where a lot of people struggle. So we come up with cliches and we come up with all these anecdotes to find every meme necessary. It's like, oh, that's me. But we always ignore the ones that say it could be us. Oh, you the problem. Oh, you fearful. You not being accountable. All this other stuff.
Right.
And what's interesting is we always, when someone says something that's not favorable or that you don't agree with, we lean on, oh, well, you don't know me. Or these people know me, right?
Right.
Somebody that a complete stranger can walk up to you and affirm you and tell you all kinds of good stuff and you will just receive it. You will never, when someone says something good, you don't ever say, you don't know me.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So it's this level of people not being accountable. We don't want to be accountable, and the mirror is the most difficult place to face. You know what I mean? And to be honest, people look in the mirror and lie to themselves all the time. But we do that in relationships, especially because how often do you ever really hear when something doesn't go right? Oh, that was on me. It was me. I messed that one all the way up.
Years later.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But we always say, oh, something's wrong with them. Something's wrong with him. Something's wrong with her. And then we get our friends because they love us. Oh, girl, girl, he don't know what he missed, and it's his lost. You know, they always want to use the wrong word. But it's lost, you guys. LOSS. They're like, that's his lost. No, it's not. Because you can't miss that which you haven't had. And
that's a deep dive, because clearly that's a deep dive, and I think there are levels in everything, of course, or layers, should I say. So sometimes, yes, it is a person's loss, because
how so? You can't lose what you haven't had. I've never lost $1 billion.
Okay.
Never.
But if you had $1 billion and lost, and then what? You could say that you had.
I didn't have $1 billion, so there's no way that you can't say it's my loss. I didn't have it. I don't know what it's like to have $1 billion yet.
Okay.
So,
but you know what it's like to have a consistent person in your corner, a consistent companion. You know what it's like. And I'm not saying you personally, but I'm saying a person. So when you say it's a loss, and then to violate the terms or the trust.
But do I know that you're gonna be consistent and loyal?
So you're telling me a 6-year relationship is there? That's not enough.
I mean,
you say that you may have lost. Yes, you may have lost.
But here's the thing: in your mind, you was consistent and loyal. In your mind, he had it so great, but he still walked away for a reason. So you're not the one to ask whether or not he lost.
Okay, got it.
You got to ask him that. Now, if he says, "Oh, that's my loss," dig it. But if I ask him, is that his loss?
I see a couple people on. I want to say hi to my uncle. Hey, Match. It's hard for me to call him Match. I call him Uncle Junior. I have all my life. He's going to be on with us later on this month. I saw April. Denisha said, "Hey now," and then Aaron said he was in one for 10 years. So you're saying like it's not the person who leaves to say, or the person that was left to say it was their loss. It's the person that leaves.
Quite possibly. I mean, what I'm saying is you're sitting there saying, "Oh yeah, he lost," because that's your confidence in yourself. You love you.
Okay.
Right?
As you should.
That's what you want to believe, or maybe you're avoiding actually looking at what you did wrong. And I'm not saying it was just you. It
takes two.
But we don't want to look at us and look at the wrong that we've done.
Okay.
That's difficult to do. And sometimes we legit don't recognize it because we can be emotional or whatever. But you can't. That's self-affirming and self-healing to say they lost out. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And if they really feel that, maybe they'll try to come back. Maybe they'll say that. Maybe they're trying to reconcile. You know what I mean? But those who don't, like, I'm not a go back type of person. I've not tried to go back to relationships. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some kick it ships and some situationships.
Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Hey Nina, hey Kim, hey Pam.
But I just think it's a convenient narrative to sit there and say, "Oh, well, they're the one that lost." You know, and that's just not always factual. You know what I'm saying? That's just something we want to tell ourselves to feel better about the situation, because how dare you leave me as great as I am? You feel me? So it's like,
and maybe it's not the how dare you leave me, but how do I say this? It's not the how dare you leave me. It's the often for women, I would say it's the way they were left and the lack of the communication that transpired to result in a person going, "I'm out." It's like, wait, what?
You assume there was no communication.
Okay.
You
don't shift for the win, Aaron said. Kicking shift is a new word.
There are people in this world that don't listen.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll say this. I had a relationship to where I was done. I stopped doing anything. I was checked out. And she was like, "We didn't communicate. We didn't exhaust the possibilities." I was like, "But I did. I've been trying. You don't listen." I've been trying for months, and I'm exhausted. I'm done. Because when I was trying to talk and get what I needed, you weren't listening. We were only focusing on what you needed from me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Those things that you were missing from me. And I'll acknowledge that. Cool. You're not getting this from me. I'm lacking in this area. Bet. Cool. But this is what I also need from you to have the energy to do the things that it's got to be cyclical. It's got to be back and forth. You know what I mean? Like, I can't just be the asshole.
So was this a conversation that happened after the relationship was over, or during, or towards the end? Like, when did that conversation come about?
That one, when I was already done, that's when she wanted to talk about exhausting the possibilities. I was like, I've been trying to talk to you. I've been trying to communicate with you. I've been saying this.
Okay, so a couple of things, and one of them I want you to talk about definitely in relation to Hello Me. Man says, so how should you self-analyze, or is it possible? But before we go there, Biba says, a lot of women get upset over the waste of time. Girl, I need to applaud her. I think
Waste
that's
of
what I'm trying to say, Mo. Like, yes, that's what I'm trying to say. But what we miss, but with that, we miss the clues most of the time. So she's saying, like, look, we missed the clues, but we're upset because we wasted time. Like, brother, if I would have known 6 months ago that you had checked out, we could have ended it then.
right.
Saved everybody a whole lot of.
Here's a quick helper.
Uh-huh.
If you reword what you just said, if I would have known 6 months ago, to saying if I would have paid attention 6 months ago. Because when to say if I would have known 6 months ago, you're saying if you would have told me, you failed to communicate with me, you feel me?
His title, relationship communication.
But communication is not just talking. Communication is listening.
Indeed.
You feel me? And if you're not listening, you're not communicating.
Okay.
And when someone feels like they're not being heard, what do? They stop talking. They shut down.
Right.
You know? And so I find a lot of times when my homegirls are talking about the lack of communication, it's usually he's not listening to her. Right? Communication usually starts with, "Oh, baby, we have to talk." And those are deaf words to men. Like, wait, what you mean? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We communicate differently. It's not that men don't talk. We just not gonna give you everything in one sitting. You know what I mean? And when we talk about wasting, like I often hear women, "Oh, don't waste her time." Why are we not acknowledging that he's spending the same amount of time in that relationship as you?
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Who's wasting whose time? You feel me? I had somebody say that to me one time, and this was an asshole move, I admit. But I was just like, I was annoyed. I asked her how much she made. I said, "How much do you make?" You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I calculated whose time was worth what dollar.
Oh my God, Jason!
No, I was dead.
Okay.
Serious. I was like, my time is literally worth more than yours.
Oh my God.
Not to mention, I'm paying for this. You know what I mean? Like, I could be creating money with the time that I'm spending here with you, and you worried about what can be done for you. So when we say don't waste whose time, we're talking about what we're getting for our time rather than what we can give. And if you learn how to give and make sure that that person's taken care of and heard and paid attention to, they're gonna do the same for you. Now, is that science? Is that 100% of the time? No, you have people who just don't get it on both sides. I acknowledge that. It ain't nothing perfect, but you gotta stop going into these things thinking that your time was more valuable than the other person's time. No, you both spend in the same amount of time. But here's what's crazy is, and I know this is usually more for women than men because of biological clocks and everything else, and just how you guys view relationships.
Andrea just said that. She said, because he can have babies forever. Time wasted is different for men and women. And then my uncle said that time value is real.
Mm-hmm. Well, time value could be or whatever, but that's not to say like men don't want to have children. And because I think about that at my age and not having children. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I think about the quality of life. Now, of course, I'm not talking about birthing children or whatever, but I'm talking about raising children, that energy, that pouring in. So we can't sit here like, no, time is time. Mm-hmm. What we do with that time is incumbent upon that person. So just because you have children doesn't inherently mean, oh, well, your time is more valuable because your time is running out in that area. Your biological clock is not my responsibility. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna sit here and rush my life and my future and possibly make a mistake because of your biological clock. I don't owe you children. You know what I mean? So all I owe you was honesty, transparency. If we're gonna work on this together, to put my all into it, and we
honesty, transparency. Mm-hmm.
So, and if that's what we agree into,
right?
But we get to this point to where it's not working, and we stick up. We start with all these years. That's assuming all these years were great. People like, no, many of these years was horrible.
Wow.
Why don't we salvage the rest of these years by calling it what it is? Not working. Together all this time doesn't mean I owe you more of it. You know what I mean?
So I'm going to take you back a little bit. I want you to go into a portion of "Hello, me, nice to meet you." From the statement made by Magee, self-analyzing, and knowing where you are, and if you share, and I think that's where we kind of started people going back. I was telling Jay about a story, like I teeter at times, like, am I really ready to date? Not because I don't know who I am, but there's a level there's something in me that, yes, gets a little fearful. Like, is this another setup? Am I going to give more than I receive? And am I, or am I not going to give enough to that person that's actually the right person to give it to? And oh my God, that's too much to think about, Mostly. Let's focus on something else.
Yeah, stop overthinking. It's not that hard. Like,
it actually is that. Oh my God, Jason, you're trying to say,
let me ask you this question.
trying to say that it's not that hard.
Listen. It's really not that hard. You're making it more difficult than it has to be with all that thinking. If you like the person or not, you either gonna give it a shot or you're not. It's either gonna work or it doesn't. And after that, let's just say within a year, at the beginning of the year, you single, you meet somebody, y'all start dating, it doesn't work out. By the end of the year, you single. The result is the same if you haven't dated at all. Like, if you go that whole year never dating, at the end of the year, you still single.
I don't know if I would agree with that statement. People, what you guys think? The reason why is because there's levels of investment, at least from a woman's standpoint, that she makes that, like, and it's not saying that your time was not valuable, but it's like, how much investment did he make?
Women somehow invest more than men?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying
what you just said from a woman's standpoint, the level of investment.
Okay. What is going on? I don't know why that. Oh, that must have been my other. Okay. Mm-hmm. So let's see. Let's look at what Tyrone says. Tyrone says we have to learn to communicate, adapt to each other's communication styles, and be open to compromise. The communication needs between the person involved, not friends, family members' opinion on the matter. That is totally. Andrea says no risk, no reward. Business taught me. If I was going to swing for the fences in business, why not in my personal life? That's a good one. Man said, hey, not to be confrontational. Uncle, that's what this is. We in here. We like to go back and forth, and we meet in the middle somewhere.
No, but his comment is actually spot on, because that's what we do in relationships. We're so focused on what we're gonna get rather than honing in on what we are gonna bring to it. And if you sharpen that, listen, it might not. Love is always a risk. Period. Anything is a risk.
Okay.
Right? You started this. This is a business. You going live in dialogue with Mo. This was a risk. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There was a chance that this wouldn't work. There was a chance that nobody would have tuned in to listen to you. There was a chance that how many ever episodes you've done and how many hours you put in the planning hours and the reaching out to people and setting up in the emails and all this. After all that time you invested, there was a chance that it wouldn't work, and you still did it. You see what I'm saying? Period. And you didn't think about not working. So we never invest that when we're talking about relationships. And there's a quote that I learned from Dr. Wayne Dyer. And he says this: the law of flotation was not discovered by contemplating the sinking of things. Okay? When you see a ship, what are they made out of? These big destroyers, these naval ships, they're made out of steel, right? Steel does not float. It's not meant to float. It's buoyancy. Throw a piece of steel in the water and it's going to sink. Yet you've got this huge destroyer ship out there floating on water. Because when they invented boats and they invented the law of flotation, they did not do it trying not to sink. All they thought about was floating. They're like, hey, we want to float, so I'm build this to float. I'm not building this to not sink.
So now let's take what you're saying there and put it in terms of communication for two people who absolutely do not know each other.
It's just talk, spend time, pay attention, learn. See, it's not, we want to make, the shit's not algebra. We go in this, oh, well, what if this, and what are they thinking, and do they really like me? Who's going to call first? And I'm not calling first because that's not who I am, and I wasn't raised that way, and this is what they're supposed to. Damn all of that. Just fucking go out. Have a good time. You know what I'm saying? Go out, have a good time, decide if you want to do the shit again. It's that simple. Then if you say, hey, I want to do this again, then we decide, let's do this often enough to establish maybe something deeper. Then we might say, you know what, I enjoy doing this with you. I feel like we should only do this with one another.
So then let's talk about obstacles that may come in that route, because we wish we all wish that it was that pure and simple. The truth of the matter is that it's not.
Okay, wait, let me just, we're talking about communication and I've been talking about listening, right?
Yes.
I just gave you a whole damn speech on not talking about obstacles.
Thinking, I get that. Okay.
Now you say, let's talk about failure. No.
Because I'm not talking about failure, because yes, they only thought about floating.
Focus on this. How do we get to float? Why worry about an obstacle?
Gotcha.
When you say this, let's focus on obstacles, you are literally saying, hey, let's anticipate what might go wrong for some shit that's not even happening right now.
You know what it is, I guess, Jason, for me. Mm-hmm. And I want to speak to the other women who actually are healing from hurts and healing from bad decisions and healing from the not listening portion, or healing from some stuff that was not said, truthfully, because sometimes people do lie. And you don't go into situations thinking you're going to get lied to. You don't go into situations thinking you're going to get taken. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is, when you have that cut come across your board, it is ignorant to ignore that those things do happen. So while I'm not looking for it, I do need to put up some fences to guard in case it show up again.
No, you don't, because you know who does more lying to you than them dudes that you go out with? You. Mm. You lie to yourself long before you ever went out with somebody.
Okay.
You lie to yourself looking for, because by your conversation right now, you often go out looking for what could go wrong. Even on a subconscious level.
Yes, no, but okay.
Listen, because by your logic, I've been lied before, so I need to put up these fences. That's self-sabotage. So you're lying to yourself before you ever go out with him. He's never had a fair shot. Because
now let's take this full circle and bring it back.
Let me finish. Listen.
Okay, go ahead.
You are making him hop a fence that you put up before you ever showed up to this date. You see what I'm saying? You are lying to yourself. You're going there saying, hey, this is a new guy. This could be something. No, you're not. No, it can't possibly, because you don't put up walls and fences already. And who wants to put walls and fences for somebody they don't even know? Like you just said.
This is what I'm saying when I say go back to full circle. When we started this, when we started the dialogue, and we started talking about if Mosi, not anybody else, if Mosi was ready to date, because to me, in conversation with you and conversations that we have with these dialogues, I have to be willing to say, I'm giving all blindly.
And you expected him to.
And I'm personally not ready. I'm not there for that. So I can't say I'm ready to date. I'm not ready. So I'm like, I can't say I'm ready to date because I'm not ready to give all blindly. Not right now.
But you expect him to.
No.
Listen to the conversation that we had before we even went live. Okay. Your expectation of him was to call you. Your expectation of him was to be ready. Your expectation of him was to be stable. All of these things. Give his all.
But if I give that, should I not receive it back?
You didn't give him anything. Y'all never went out. You never even talked to him. But you have an expectation of him.
But Jason, I feel like we ignore the fact that, okay, here's a box. Okay, let's say we got two boxes.
Wait. Before you even do the two boxes thing.
Okay. Because we got some good commentary coming in here. Hey, Tamika, go ahead.
Every time I hold you accountable, you segue into something else. No.
I'm just trying to
listen to what you say and look at the action behind what you say. They're not lining up. So you can't talk about being lied to because you're lying to yourself before anyone ever gets an opportunity to lie to you. And if you continually lie to yourself, how can you hold somebody else accountable for the lies they tell you? You're doing it to you.
So now let's go into hello, me, nice to meet you.
Wait, hold on.
Okay, I'm trying to get that in there.
Right. Get that. But right now we're talking about accountability. And I just said you segue when we're holding you accountable and you just did it again.
Because, because I am trying to keep the dialogue moving.
What I'm saying is this, and I'm speaking to everybody, but you're the one on the line. If you have all these expectations of him, because these are things that you said in our conversation within the last 20 minutes, all of these things, you gave me every reason not to talk to him because it was expectations you had of him, and y'all never even had a conversation. You feel me? But then you say, oh, well, if I'm giving all of this, you haven't even given him a call.
Gotcha.
So, and then you have expectations? Like, knock it off.
And I'm not going to give him a call, people still.
Exactly. And that's
Okay. Hi, Tamika. Let's see. Hi, Janae. Let's see. Hi, Trina. Hey, Christine. Andrea, yes. She said, now we still need to exercise wisdom in what we give out front. Don't be completely guarded, but don't be silly.
and somebody else just Katrina said the same thing.
Hey, checked on you that last time. I don't understand, Trina. What you mean by that? Trina's my cousin. Mm-hmm. So what you mean by that, Trina? Tyrone, you have not given him the fair opportunity due to the last man. Tyrone, you are absolutely correct. So for me, I go, if I know I'm not going to give someone a fair chance, I don't need to be out there trying to date.
Why not just give him a fair chance then?
Because, whew, Jesus, can somebody pull the receipt?
No, because the assumption is this: nothing. You act like men don't go through nothing. You act like men don't get lied to and cheated on and everything else. We go through those same things, and yet
I'm not saying that they don't. I'm not saying that they don't. I'm not dismissing that he may have had his experiences too. And often what I find is a man who has had experiences, guess what? He has more barriers to his heart than
Bossy. You sit here, you always try to diagnose men, and I notice men. No, deal with you. Deal with what women do. He got him.
That's why Mosey's not dating everybody. Would I like to start hanging out with somebody on a regular basis?
Then just
I'm still deciding it. I don't know.
Start a dude up.
I don't know. I'm not going to be willing to just open up. Then why would I do it?
You said what?
If I'm not going to be willing to open up, then why would I commit to something I'm not willing to give my 100 on?
That's not the reasons you gave me. You said, oh.
But I'm telling you, we're going deeper into this discussion. So because we had 10 minutes before, I didn't give you everything I was thinking.
So the thing is this: if you're not ready, it's not even about being ready. You need to be accountable. And I'm gonna tell you, and the reason why I keep saying that is this: if we peeling off some layers now, when you're saying, oh, I'm not ready, then you need to stop putting everything on him. And oh, well, he's not this yet, and he's not that, and in my experience, men that's this ain't that. No, that ain't got nothing to do with him.
It's that I'm not ready. So you would have been. So we would be able to talk for 5 minutes just for me if I said I'm not ready.
If you not listen, this.
But can I tell you something? Can I tell you something, Jay? And I'm going to speak from the woman's standpoint. Every woman, and if this has happened to you as a woman, I want you to light up the light, light up the loves, light up the laughs. Every time, if you meet a person, you tell them you're not ready, what happens? They pursue you harder.
Okay, so do you not hear how
light it up if that's happened to you?
Wait, and that's a problem?
Okay.
So you guys put an expectation on men to pursue. A man's supposed to pursue. Then we lie about the Bible. The Bible say this, and he posted, and then the minute they do it, it's a problem.
But no. Well, remember the statement is, if you said you're not ready, and every woman who says she's not ready, that man has pursued her like it was freaking the FloJo and the 100 dash.
Okay. And
Tyrone said it's simple. Not putting your needs and wants as a priority, but open to learning each other's love language. I don't give out my love language. I feel like it's a little too interpersonal and it can trap me up into some stuff I don't want.
You just know and do it, right?
Huh?
But what? My question again: is your no broken?
My no broken. What does that mean?
Is your no broken?
No, thank you.
Your ability to say no is
absolutely not.
I love no. Why him pursuing you harder? Nobody said you had to give in.
Exactly. Okay. Okay.
You presented that as an and you hold up. You was even emotional at first. Like, if this has ever happened to you, you say you're not ready, and he pursues you harder. Like, and that's an obstacle. That's a problem. If you're not feeling, dude, listen.
It is when let me stop. Maybe I don't want to tell too much of my business or somebody else's business.
Listen, if you're not ready, you're not ready. Yeah, he might pursue. He might be persistent. You either keep saying no, or you like, hey, let me give it a shot. It's not hard. It's a multiple choice question. Yes or no. Sometimes you got to say no more than once.
Hey, Julia. Julia says hi to you and to my Julia Webb.
Hey.
Say hey.
But no, it's listen, dudes go through that same thing. If I showed you screenshots from my inbox and my DMs, listen.
Amen. Maybe that's what we need to talk about is your stuff.
You
We
said
always
what?
up in my stuff. We need to talk about your stuff.
That's because you always be catching yourself.
No, it's because you have fun catching me. And, I told you truthfully in the beginning. I said, look, I don't think I'm ready to date. I would like to, but I don't think I'm ready to.
And that's cool, but it's not dissimilar than a conversation that I have with my homegirls a lot. One thing that you're not allowed to lie to yourself to me.
Well, that's a good question. Hold on. Biba said, are they pursuing a relationship with you? If you say you're not ready, or are they pursuing sex because it becomes more of a challenge? That's good, Biba. I think those are two different things. I don't know if you can group both of them.
How could you be pursuing it? Y'all don't know each other. You just pursuing getting to know somebody. Yeah, you might want a relationship. I don't know if I'm gonna want it with you.
Yes. So
why she shaking her head?
She said, wait, which one? Don't get caught is Aaron. Tamika, I think she said, are you single?
Right, and she's shaking her head. I want to know why she's shaking her head.
Why are you shaking your head, Tamika? We watching. Okay, let's see. Yeah, and I like Janae said, agree with you. Just because they keep pursuing doesn't mean you have to bite. It is very exciting.
We make stuff way more complicated. Like just because he's pursuing you, I have to go out with him. He just keeps asking.
No, I mean but if you've told somebody no for 6 months to a year and they're still pursuing you, you might have a clinical case on your hand, or maybe
somebody that really likes you.
You almost cussed. I almost cussed. If you really like,
like why is liking you a problem? You're making him.
As Aaron says, sex ain't a challenge. In 2020, it may not be. Let's keep it real. I think it's more of a challenge for a woman with a man. I don't know if it's if it's a challenge for a man trying to get a woman.
Wait,
I think men have. I think some things have shifted, and men recognize that women enjoy pleasure and will withhold from a woman that they seem like she's a little too aggressive with.
I mean, if we don't want to have sex, we ain't gonna have sex. It's no different than the women. We just because men don't just because
sex. My eyes. I said you saw my eyes. Okay.
I mean, we turned
down. We don't want to have sex with you, but then like as you would say, that's a general statement mostly.
What? I didn't hear you. Say it again.
I said. You say if he don't want to have sex, he don't want to have sex. And I said, you're going to say it was a general statement if I say he doesn't want to have sex with you.
No, that could be true too. I mean, it's not that we don't want to have sex. He may not want to have sex with you. That's just like you ain't just going to sleep with every dude just because it's available.
Right. You
pick and choose who you want to have sex with. We do the same. We just happen to have more than people we want to do it with.
True. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're talking about singleness, and we're actually gonna bring someone on that is on her way to becoming married, or in the I don't even like to say becoming, like it's they're on their journey. I don't know how better to say. They're engaged. Huh? They're engaged. Yeah, they're engaged. And then we also have a married man. I'm looking to see if he's ready. I don't see him, and he hasn't responded, and he typically moves at his own speed. Amen.
So let's address it, Tamika.
Okay.
Single. Yeah, I am single.
Okay.
And that's why I'm saying the things and let me address this.
Okay.
I'm not saying that this is what she's saying, but I'm gonna just address something that people often say. Like people tend to want to take dating advice from married people. No, I don't take dating advice from married people. I take marriage advice from happily married people. Dating advice should come from people who are dating. I'm speaking from the single man's perspective. If you are a single woman, you should probably listen to single men because we are the demographic you are wanting to engage with. That's a general statement, but we're talking about heterosexual relationships. But why not listen to the demographic that you are meaning to engage? So it's like you got women all the time teaching men about women, and we like this and we think this and that. Okay, cool. You want to tell me about how a woman thinks? Bam, I'm all ears. But when it comes to men, the narrative is often behave the way we want you to because this is what we desire from you, rather than hearing what we also need from you. We also have needs, and if we're not hearing each other, we got to hear each other.
That's what I call meeting understanding, because at some point there's a decision that you make, that both people make, to say, we want to explore this further.
Okay.
And me walking with my backpack and my speed, it may not intersect, or when we realize that we've intersected, do we make a conscious decision to start understanding one another if we have been missing each other?
You should be trying to understand people in general. That should never be a decision that you make. That should be a way of life. If you are communicating with anybody on any level, understanding someone should just be a human trait, not something that we actively have to learn how to do. You know what I mean? Because when you say that, if we have to make an effort to hear and understand somebody, we're not listening to anybody. All we're going around trying to be heard and making sure someone else is fulfilling what we need. But then when they walk away from us, we're flabbergasted and don't understand why. It's because we never listened and understood them.
Listening and understanding.
So it's kind of like there's that second part of communication. If we're talking about communication and intersections of communication, you cannot ignore that listening part. That is communication. You see what I'm saying? Go back to the email situation from a couple of weeks ago that we talked about, right?
Okay. Yes.
You sent out communication.
Yes.
You did not know whether or not I understood it.
Right. And I didn't ask if you understood.
Was the communication complete? No.
Yes. Wait, because it wasn't like.
And from your perspective, the communication was not complete.
Yes, because I didn't receive a response.
I conveyed my understanding of it. For me, it was complete. You sent the email. You said, did I get the email? I said, yes, ma'am. Boom. Got it. Like, yeah, I got the email.
That would have helped. Yes, ma'am, got it. It was yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, you got the email, or yes, you.
So from my perspective, I thought that I was answering your question. I thought you understood it. So for me, the communication was complete. For you, it was incomplete, right?
Okay.
But what you didn't do is say, hey, I don't understand your response. Yes, ma'am, you got it. Yes, ma'am, you understood it. Yes, ma'am, you read it. Like, what is yes, ma'am? You just was like, right? And then tried to check me on it. Like, he just said this. Well, shit, you didn't say you wanted more.
and I go, and that's when he's like, it's not that deep. I'm like, but clearly you knew it wasn't enough information.
No, I didn't. If I knew it wasn't enough information, I would have said more. You see how you putting it back on me? I knew. No, I didn't. Like, if I knew, first of all, do I strike you as someone who does not know how to communicate, or is unwilling to communicate more if necessary?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, Jason. It actually, as a single woman dating a man who knows how to communicate, it's a little scary. It could be a little scary because you got to learn. You need to know. And I'm talking from a single woman perspective, not from a single man.
Why is it scary that you get the very thing that you're sitting there asking for?
Because it's like, can I trust it, or is it being used to manipulate?
I don't mean to laugh, but it's like, stop overthinking. You say you want someone to communicate. Now when he communicates, you wonder if the communication is genuine. Is he lying to me? Is he like, we can't win. We cannot.
And it's not, but this is not just you, Jay. Like, in one of the things I learned in business, people lie.
Listen.
So I always have to gauge, is this a lie? Are they going to really?
Listen, you got way too many worries, and men do not have to lie to you, right? Because you put way more in your own way before they even get a chance. I swear to God. But like, Lord, kind of like this is literally what it sounds like when you're saying these things. It's saying like, and I'm gonna flip the scenario. If I'm saying, babe, man, how come you never cook? You know what I mean? Like, I want you to cook. You don't cook enough. You know what I'm saying? Can you cook at least 3-4 times in a week? You know, blah, 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 whatever, right?
That's clear. That was very clearly stated.
No. But what I'm saying is, I want you to cook.
Okay.
Then you start cooking. Now I'm like, man, you cooking like, dang, can you make like some steak and some pork chops? You cooking these vegan meals, you know, like, blah, 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 blah. And then you start cooking the steak and stuff like that. Like, dang, why you cooking so long? Can I get medium well? Look at it, like, no matter it's just something.
Should he have said in the beginning, like, babe, can you cook 3 or 4 times a week? And I want to have some steaks that's medium well with some broccoli and some mashed potatoes.
Or I could have said, thank you, babe.
But then, like you said, when people ain't being given, okay, let's go back.
It's like you doing it, and now it's still not enough. Now there's more. I asked you to cook. You know what I mean? Like, let's graduate instead of me.
Andrea said something good. She said she thinks that we should abide by our inner compass. And I think that is where most of the work happens. Because one, like I said, if you're abiding by your inner compass and you've had several experiences that let's say, like, if I touch the stove, it's hot. Okay. You're not going to see it. Every time you see a stove, you're going to think it's hot. So if my inner compass is off, I have to adjust that if I'm seeking something else.
Okay. Do you know what you're seeking?
Absolutely.
Do you know you?
Absolutely.
Then why are you not ready?
Whew. Because I have not gotten over the trauma. I haven't gotten over the trauma yet.
Then you don't know you. You know a version. See.
No. That you can no. I can know. Like, for example, it's like when if I don't know if I fell before and sprained my arm. So that was very clear. Sprained my arm. It took 6 weeks for it to heal. Okay. So do I want to go outside? Yeah. Am I ready to engage in activities that may jeopardize my healing my arm? Nope. I'm not ready.
Then you don't know you.
Ooh. Okay.
Here's the thing. Let's take it and I'll give you an analogy of an athlete, right? Once an athlete, a world-class athlete, has a major injury,
yeah,
right? There is a fear that they are not going to be the same. They're not going to perform at the same level anymore. Mm-hmm. There's also a fear of being re-injured. So when they go out there to play again, they don't play the same, right? They're not trusting their body. They could be 100 completely healed, but the trauma of being injured does not allow them to engage in the sport the way that they once did. And hence they don't know themselves because they don't know that they can do it. They don't know they're 100% in here. So you think you know yourself, but somebody who is driven by trauma, like you just stated, you don't know the healed version of you because that's not who you are fellowshipping with. You're fellowshipping with the traumatized version of yourself, and you're engaging in such, and your actions are that of someone who is traumatized. Mm-hmm. So
if you say that, so if a person knows that they're traumatized, how can they not know themselves? Because they know that they're traumatized.
So are you the version of you that's traumatized, or are you the version of you that's healed from that?
That's a good question.
That you are created to be. So
they said that she can know herself and still not be ready. Amen, girl. I mean, let me tell you how many conversations I've had with men that's like, I know I ain't ready yet.
Is this the version of yourself you desire to be?
Say that one more time.
Is this the version of yourself you desire to be?
Just about.
Huh?
Just about. I'm not at that complete.
Is this the version of yourself you are trying to be? That's yes or no.
It might be.
Not just about you either are that person or you're not.
I am that person.
So the traumatized version of person is that's who you want to be.
Oh no.
Then
okay, see now we're playing words.
I'm not playing words. It's a direct question. Are you
the traumatized version of myself, or I'm the healed version of myself? I'm the healed version of myself.
So are you the version of you that you want to be? That's a simple question.
I am still evolving.
That is a yes or no.
And I said, okay, so yes, I am the version of the person. I'm not the traumatized person. I am the healed person. Okay.
Are you? So if you're healed, then why are you not ready?
Again. So,
I'm not trying to get you to say something specific. This is what I'm talking about, and I even mentioned it in the book. Our journey to self is a constant reintroduction to the many versions of ourselves that we are going to become, right? Mm-hmm. Becoming is always a destination, right? or a journey, not a destination, rather. And we are often existing in versions of ourselves that we are not meant to be and do not want to be, hence working on ourselves to become something different and more, right? And that's one of those things that we don't want to be honest with ourselves. We want to come up with these cliches and these feel better quotes. I can still be this and that. No, you cannot. Bottom line, you cannot do this and that. You have to be this in order to be that. You know? So if you're saying, hey, I want to give my all, you talk about, well, I'm going to give my all in a relationship. How? If you're still traumatized from the last dude, it's impossible to give your all. I cannot have all of you if you're still traumatized from the last dude. Period. And hence you are not the version of you that you want to be because you desire a relationship, but you're scared of it because of the trauma that you've experienced and you are not healed from it. So one, let's keep it 100. Let's stop trying to make each other feel better. Like, oh my God, you're so awesome. Oh, it's them and that guy. No. Do the work on you to get to that place because there's something that you want and you can come up with every narrative that you can possibly think of to avoid doing the work. And I talk about that in the book. We don't often get to where we want to be because we are afraid to do the work that it takes to change. But no great tale was ever told without adversity, right? And I do a whole chapter on that. Have you ever watched a movie where only good happens to the protagonist? Like the main character, they wake up at the beginning of the movie and everything's great. And then it goes to the middle of the movie and things are still great. And then goes to the end of the movie and everything is just still great.
Of course not. It wouldn't be a movie.
Exactly. So the movie of your life has ebbs and flows, right? You have an opening, you have a clause, you have a climax. You have, you know what I'm saying? You have and then the resolution. So we go through these things, but in order to get to that happily ever after, we have to go through the climax of the movie. We have to go through the conflict. We have to face that. And there's always this coming of age moment in every film where the hero has to face himself first before he ever faces the enemy. It's like, oh, this was like The Last Dragon, Batman, everything. What do all these things have in common? He had to face his own demons and his own self. Who's the master? I am, right? And when he found himself, then he went and ascended to the next level and all this stuff. But you have to go through that training process and that work to get there and stop trying to feel better. Change does not always feel good, right? And that means you have to be honest with self. You have to look at all your self-inflicted wounds because we do more to self than anybody could ever do to us. And it's easy to say this person did that. No, you did it to yourself. With every choice, with every minute you chose to stay, with everything you did to not face it and to avoid it and not be accountable. That was you, not anybody else. And you got to be accountable for it. And until you do that, we will not get to the place to be whoever you're meant to be. We will not be the best version of ourselves. We will not climb the mountains in our lives and turn them into hills or anything else and do exploits until you are accountable.
And I want to say thank you to you, Jason, for being here with Dialogue with Mo. Say hi to the people that are joining. And Andrea, this is actually it's an unscripted dialogue for relevant, resourceful information for you, the people. And I think it's a perfect time to bring Andrea in as she's journeyed and I celebrate her engagement and more. So I'm going to bring Andrea in, and Brother Frank Oliver, if you out there, come on over.
Appointment to be on somebody's show.
Huh?
First of all, we're gonna talk about.
Hey, Andrea.
How you doing?
And I'm looking for I want to see if Manch is available. I want to see. Are you available?
Great Renee Slave for the people.
I'm looking for to add some more
Right.
to our discussion.
Matter of fact,
about relationships and communication. I love it. I love it. So, Andrea, introduce yourself to the people. Tell them a little bit about yourself. And you look fabulous too, girl. Fabulous.
thank you, darling. Thank you. Should I use my earbuds or am I okay?
You're good. You're perfect.
You're good? Okay, fantastic. Okay, hi everybody. Andrea Magee. I am, simply put, a life and business coach, but my zone in the area that I'm most passionate about is empowering entrepreneurs to live their best lives and using their businesses to do that. And I've been an entrepreneur for almost 15 years. In September, it'll be 15 years. I've done it with a full-time job. I've done it without a job. And so I've learned quite a bit. And I was saying even up top in the comments, a lot that started to apply to my personal life, I really learned in business. Definitely the risk part. I'm like, wow, I've been willing to risk it over and over and over again in my business, why won't I do what's necessary to achieve that same kind of success in my life? And so, hey, oh, thank you. I see a congrats. Sorry.
Hey, man, yes.
Yeah. So that's, that's generally what I do. I move women out of fear and into functionality in their, in their lives and their businesses. I don't, touch relationships, so to speak, but, my own personal experience with that, I think, is what helps me to, be able to be a bridge for them in those areas. So that's my little spiel.
I love it. I love it. And I love talking to you. So Andrew, you came in right at the point where we're talking about moving past. It was a very blanket question that Jason posed to me. If I was my healed self or am I my traumatized self?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I won't get into all the particulars about that question, but I will just say that I'm my healed self. But I know as a woman, dating, you've had your experience as well. And going past your experiences to actually have what you desired and receive what you have. Oh, Brother Oliver's here. We're going to go ahead and bring him in too. Before you speak, I want him to introduce
I'm about to say, I ain't going to be able to speak now. He's going to come through and wreck the joint.
No, he's going to connect. I want him to introduce himself to the people, and then I want you to go in and just kind of talk a little bit about your journey because I want to make sure we hit all aspects of relationships. The one for the singles, the dating, the married, getting married. Mm-hmm. Brother Oliver, can you introduce yourself to the people? In a minute. We can't hear you. Nope, not yet. No. So, Frank, as Kiana said, take the glasses off. You gotta love Zetas. But we can't hear you, Frank. So you got some earbuds, or he said, oh, he's coming up. Gotcha. So Andrew, talk a little bit while Frank is getting his audio. Share a little bit about your journey from single to engaged.
My gosh. Well, look, the abridged version is that it was a journey, and just starting with right before this relationship, I had been in a situationship for a long time, and I was, kind of in and out and back and forth. And I talked a little bit about this in part one, just really being unwilling to leave it. And a lot of it was about time invested. I know you guys talked about that a little bit before. It was just like, wow, we've been dealing with each other for X amount of years. And if I walk away, I'm going to have to start all over with somebody else. And so just my natural personality, I don't like small talk. I don't like getting to know you. So that's just not my jam.
Oh my God, Andrea, I literally just said that to myself like 2 days ago. Oh my God. Okay, go ahead.
I don't like it. So I realized, I was just trying to avoid that. Even in my dating life, I realized I have I can think maybe of a couple of people, but mostly only dated people that I knew or knew through somebody. I don't do strangers. I'm like trying to, the path of least resistance. And so this is, of course, looking back. I didn't really realize that while I was going through it, but, extreme heartbreak in that last situation where I had to make a decision about whether I was going to stay there and look like totally ridiculous, or if I was going to step away and do something and be in something that was better for me. Like I felt myself just kind of shrinking down, like while I was and if we matched it up to my professional career, while I was at my height professionally, I was literally in the depths personally. And so, my prayer and, my question to God was just like, if you can do it over here, why can't you, and I can't, but why aren't you doing it over here? I don't understand. Right. And, it was literally like, I'm not doing anything. You're doing it. And I had to own that. Like, yeah, I'm over here sabotaging myself. I am shutting myself off for whatever the blessing is. I didn't know what it was going to be or who it was going to be, but I was unwilling to let go of the thing that I knew wasn't serving me. Wow. So it wasn't allowing me to, to receive what was, as we all know, standing there the whole time, like right here, right? Like when I go through Facebook memories on this day and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, you've been here. We didn't just walk into each other and meet each other when this happened, but I was able to see him, and I definitely was able to receive him, once my hands were free. So going into the situation, that wasn't easy either. I definitely can identify with what you were talking about, with not knowing, being unsure.
Yeah.
But I literally, between talking to Jason and having, come to Jesus meetings, with myself and in prayer time, it was just like, are you going to try or are you not?
Right.
Like that.
But now, Andrea, before we go to Frank, can you hear us? Frank, we can't hear you, brother. Let me do this.
Oh, he looked like he's saying something good too.
I know. I'm trying to.
Frank could be saying happy, joy for all we know.
But it looked like it was compelling.
I mean, and I'm like, and Frank, they said that he's having a Teddy Riley moment. Hey, Koma. Hey, Donna. Hey, Ebony.
He won first place in the Ray Charles lookalike contest with them shades he had on a second ago.
He's laughing so he can hear us clearly.
He can hear us. What were you saying, Mosi?
So, what but I feel like there was a moment we had a conversation. There was a moment that he made his intention that, hey, he was not just interested in friendship with you.
Right, but I didn't take it that way. Like okay. I was still right. So again, looking back at it and little hints and the way that he was with me, I just literally chalked it up to like, oh, he's a nice guy. I didn't take it as more than that. Okay. And ultimately it took me, kind of making the first move, so to speak, which I was absolutely against. Like not necessarily because I didn't feel that women should, though I have felt that way, but I just was really afraid because I was like, what if, I shoot this shot and, it's a brick, right? And I remember Jason saying like, imagine how men feel. And I realized like, I never really thought about their experience. Sorry. But how often by the time they're, and at this point I was in my mid 30s, like by the time you're 35, how many shots have they taken since they were 13 or whatever, age they first started approaching women? And so that literally, I don't think I ever told him, but that literally gave me like enough courage to be like, okay, well, if he's been rejected potentially X amount of times, I can go on and throw up my one. But I will say, I only had to throw up one. Because once I did that, it was on after that. It reversed really fast. And so what I took from that is that he knew the door was open, and then we were off to the races after that.
Justin, can y'all hear me?
Yes. Hey, brother Oliver.
First of all,
you may not be as excited in a minute.
first of all, you said Jason helped you, Barzini.
That one right there.
I knew one day he was. I knew it. I knew he was gonna get. I knew it. Jason might. I'm trying to tell y'all, he might be. He all right. He all right. He good. Dude.
Okay, so but before you introduce yourself,
because that's because he talked about my glasses. That's all. Right. I had to.
But I'm gonna tell you this: when people separate how they feel about what I say from what I say, there's a lot more that they'll actually get. Like I'm even reading the comments, and a lot of it is what you're used to, how you used to operate, and how you feel. Like he's trying to put you in a box. No, I'm not. I'm trying to get you yes or no. Life is a series of yeses or nos. Either you look, what you do, or you don't. It just that's what it is.
I think you.
Come on. We complicate stuff with this. Ooh, what if and if this happens? And no, just and here's the thing: you can know yourself into obscurity all you want, or what if, or well this while the yes or no people are moving towards purpose.
Okay, but here's the truth that I'm going to share, and I respect you of this, Jason. I feel that you speak from a standpoint of that you're tired of the language being, or it's not the language, you're tired of the narrative being driven towards women of what men should do. And
That
that's the stance you take.
No. What I'm saying has absolutely nothing to do with women or men. I'm talking about life, period. Life, period. It's just
problem.
No. Either you're gonna do it or not. And somebody said, Kiana asked, "Am I my healed version?" Yes, but it took a long time. Andrea was there like the whole time. You've seen the broken down me. You've seen the downtrodden me. It took a long time to get to this place, but I didn't get to where I am today without saying yes. Like, hey, I want to change. No, I am not the version of myself I want to be. Yes, I am accountable for this. Yes, this was my fault. This is where I'm going. When I turn it to yes or no, either I will or won't, do or don't, then shit change, just period. And so we say these things and we seek all these reinforcements to feel, but we want to feel better about not being where we're supposed to be and where we should be in our life. And so when we don't hear what we want to hear, we seek out those people who will make us feel better. And matter of fact, that's chapter 3 in the book, hosting her. You see what I'm saying? People want to exist in places in life where they were never meant to exist. So if you want to stay, and I'm not talking to you, I'm talking about to anybody in general. If you want to stay in that place in your life right now, not being where you want to be, not being who you want to be, keep making excuses about it. Keep making cliches about it. The circumstances can have every explanation, but until you say, yes, I want to be different, then the doors to that change are never going to open. And it starts with that accountability of self, not with anybody's. And somebody could have very well done something to you that was traumatic and hurtful. We will not negate that. However, the responsibility to change is on you. The responsibility to heal is on you. They are not responsible for your healing. So,
Brother Oliver, married man, very radical as well.
That ain't radical. That's just accountable.
No. It is radical. It's radical, Barzini. It's not to us.
Right?
It's radical because they don't want to hear the truth. And so what happens is they can't handle the truth. And so then they want to find every reason to try to talk against. You have been people's prophet and they've rejected it. God sent you in their life to give them the truth, to get them to a place to accept. Now we have a sister here who is a witness that if people would listen and take it in, the Lord can bless them. But there's a lot of women right now, and there's a lot of Zetas watching. I know because they do it to me. A lot of Zetas right now, they're unhappy, they bitter and angry, and I was trying to help them, but they reject it. They don't want to hear it. Well, guess what? And you in the same place you are right now. I don't feel bad about it. Guess what? I don't have a problem. I'm popping kids out every year. I'm popping them. Boom, boom. I'm enjoying mine, and they sit over there bitter because they can't handle it. Y'all need to listen. Buy this man's book, and I promise you, if you follow the rules of his book, life will change for you.
And FYI, the book ain't about relationships. It's about you.
Right. But it will change for you. And then you will be able, a relationship is about being attractive, not just physically. It's about, are you attracting yourself, and are you married? We can talk about it, because I just think you got to be married, but marriage material, and you got to be married ready. And some of y'all.
Say that again. So, okay, let's talk about that. Marriage material and marriage ready.
Yes.
So let's go get into that, Frank. Let's talk about that. What is the definition that you have for the two?
Marriage material. The first thing you got to know about being marriage material, if you're gonna be a woman, is, are you willing to do what it takes to please whoever you're going to be with? Are you willing to get out of you and play the collective, play the role, the togetherness? Do you have that understanding? We have the fellas on too, so I want you to make sure you hit both. I hit them too, but I don't spend time with them. I don't know, tell them, but marriage material.
Interesting.
Because it's a different conversation than when I'm going to have with men. When I talk to men about being marriage material, the question I'm going to say to him is different. Are you ready to handle the responsibility of something greater than you, outside of you? That's the real big thing about dealing with. Are you, because this woman is coming in with when they start stripping themselves down, most women, especially if they have a traditional way of thinking, they come in looking for somebody, and they ain't gonna tell the truth, but they want somebody who gonna fix it, and somebody and when they talk about that providing role, they may not think that you got to be the sole provider, but you need to be using your money and your resources to figure it out and make it happen. They feel like they tired of thinking, and I think we need to have that type of conversation.
Hey, I said that. I said yes. I'm tired of figuring it out on my own. I'm tired of being the problem solver. I would like to just ride. I'd like to be a passenger, even just for a little while.
Maisha said, "Let her grab her wine." Let's talk.
And being a passenger, but I think you got to be careful how you say that. Being a passenger doesn't mean that you don't have input. Being a passenger doesn't mean that you're not gonna say nothing.
Right.
Because I think sometimes men get, sometimes we get blurred into Eurocentric ways of thinking about relationships, mission. What is a passenger? What is a driver? Mm-hmm. Passengers and drivers talk. In a black family, I don't know. I dated black women. They get in your car when they real comfortable with you. They start changing your radio, and they didn't even ask.
Listen, don't ever touch my radio.
Girl, yeah. But so
that's how you know you ready to marry him, Barzini, when she touches your radio and you don't get that.
But agitation. Like on both sides, when you talk about drivers and passengers and everything else, like the analogy that I always give as far as like when I'm in a relationship, yeah, I'm the driver, you the navigator. I'm gonna let you hold the map. That's cool. If we decided that we're going a different direction, I'm gonna drive. But let me drive the way I drive. Let me take the direction that I'm gonna take. Now, I'll share that direction with you. It's my responsibility is to share that direction with you. Like, look, hey, we gonna hop on that 110, hit the 105, we're gonna skirt around, you know what I'm saying, get off on like whatever the direction is, right? And if I deviate from the direction that I told her job, she gonna be like, hey, you said we was going this to the, you know what I'm saying, GPS is saying blah blah blah, we 5 minutes away off the, you know what I mean? So if I'm the head, she's the neck. If I'm the driver, she's the navigator.
But do we really believe that?
Gonna have. Now listen what you just said, Barzini, because most women don't even understand that conversation. Because a lot of them, one of the hard things is a lot of them are tired of being tired of leading, but they love control. And what you just told them is you're gonna have to relinquish control because I'm going to tell you where we're going.
Well, I'll put it this way, and I don't want to.
Come on.
Take it how you say. You ain't got to relinquish control because when you with me, you ain't never got it. The only thing that you ever need to control is me.
Woo, Jesus. I should have brought my own wine, Maisha.
I forgot mine.
Controlling me. That's what you
no, because you hear this like, oh, I'm gonna let you be a man. You don't ever have to let me be a man. I'm a man, right? Period. Now, what kind of man? That's subject to interpretation on whoever is talking, you know what I'm saying? But the reality is I'm going to play my role. I'm going to do my part the way that I know how to do it. Am I going to be perfect in that? Absolutely not. Am I going to make my mistakes? Absolutely. When I make mistakes, should you give me that input and help me get on track? Absolutely. Because if we're going to be a partnership, I'm going to need that from you. Listen, we go to work and we get evaluated and we'll sit across from our boss's desk and let them give us the compliment sandwich and all this other stuff. And we're like, okay, yeah, I'm going to develop. But in our relationships, are we willing to do the same thing on both sides? On both sides.
And that's why I want to intersect. I want to say hi to Holly. I want to give her a whole lot of love. Holly's been transitioning. So
I know you got to sell books, and I know you're a good new. But I want us to talk about this one thing. We're going to talk from a woman's perspective. We can come back to a man at the end of the show. We're going to tell, because this is the majority of them watching this, the problem, because when we give them this both, it makes them feel like they ain't got to deal with the accountability of themselves.
Oh, no, hold on, because you missed the beginning of the thing. No, we're going to hold it accountable. But here's the thing. Sometimes you got to put the medicine in a glass of juice, and I'm cool with that. You see what I'm saying? Put the medicine in a glass of juice. So one, we can't absolve. I'm not gonna hold them accountable and not absolve us of accountability. So what I'm saying is this: as a man, the woman that I'm with, yes, I need that feedback because if I'm not doing my job to keep her happy, then I can't expect her to do the same. So if I'm quick to give her feedback and everything else, I have to be willing to take it and accept it as well. So that's what I'm saying. And that will you agree with this? One of the challenges is I know there are men, we can talk, there are guys who are males, but I don't necessarily declare them as men. For instance, you said something. You said, I'm going to get in the driver's seat. I'm going to drive. Matter of fact, you can never tell me how to be a man. Well, I assume you got the car. I assume you got the gas in the car. Like,
I have a problem when a woman gonna put you in the same category of she had to get the man the car, she had to put the gas in the car, and then she wants to put you on that same level. That's, to me, that's a male, and I respect him for his maleness, but that's not what we're gonna consider a man. And so what I feel like is a lot of times they see somebody who has a penis and put him in the same category. And that's why it's kind of hard for them to understand. With you say you can't never let me be, you're never going to let me be a man. But there are a lot of them out there, they are letting them be men. And that's why I said the conversation has to be a lot different.
So let me jump in here real quick, because I see a couple comments. And Frank is not speaking from a woman's perspective because he's not a woman. You have two women on here. We are speaking from our women's perspectives at different various levels. But I will say that Frank is speaking from his experience of dialogues he's had with women and the experiences he's had.
No, you ain't got to make no point. I'm about to start looking, because if they start banging, you know me, I'm gonna start shooting at you.
So we love being uncandid upstream. I want to make sure we have a full circle.
Right, but here's to Frank's point. And mostly we talked about this a long time ago.
Yeah.
As far as like male versus man, girl versus woman, I don't do any of that. Right. For me, if you got a penis, you're a man. Right. And this is why I say that. We spend too much time trying to make distinctions of something that we cannot clearly define, and there is not one objective definition of. Right. And to say that, to make that distinction is to say this. To say you're not a man means that there is a singular definition that everybody has agreed upon to what a man is, and that every male has had an opportunity to learn those things and be a man. And such is not the case. Now, we're all men. The kind of man you are varies. The man that you may want as an individual woman, mostly, or Andrea, varies. You see what I'm saying? There's all different kinds of men. So we can't, when it's convenient, men will say, or women will say, all men ain't the same, all women's not the same. When we want something from the other, we're like, you not a man, you not a woman, you a man, you supposed to this, you a woman, you supposed to that. So we change the narrative, and what a man and woman is always changes conveniently from what we want from them. You feel me? When you're not behaving when someone says you're not a man or you're not a woman, what you're basically saying is you're not behaving in the fashion that I expect from you to fit my narrative or my agenda. Now, if you are falling short on something that you say you want to do or want to be as a man. So if Frank is saying, hey, this is who I want to be as a man, and he's falling short of that, okay, I'm going to correct him and I'm going to hold accountable, because Frank, you said you wanted to be this. You said you wanted this. You see what I'm saying? So I don't get into that thing of, oh, you're not a man, you a male, because we don't have a definition of a man. And so some will say, well, the Bible says this, but not everybody. What we're saying is you can't be a man unless you're a Christian. Not everybody reads the Bible. Not everybody follows the Bible. You got the Quran. You got people who are agnostic. Are they not men?
Well, I only have one definition for a man. It's one word: responsibility.
Responsibility.
That's the only thing I have a definition of a man.
Right, but we can frame that. So for you, Frank, like your definition of a man is, hey, responsible. I rock with that if you specify, hey, this is what I see as a man. But what I'm saying is, overall, there is no one definition of what a man is supposed to be.
Right. So I'm not saying that you got to put them in a box, but I'm saying males who are irresponsible get no respect to being a man. That's the only challenge I have.
It's almost like a semantic.
Irresponsible are just irresponsible men. It don't make you not a man. It just make you just not responsible. Because I'll say this: if a woman's responsible, does that make her a man? If we define manhood by being responsible, then that means a woman can be a man. Because there's a lot of responsible women out there.
Okay, so now I want to finish the definition, because we talked about marriage material, pleasing women, responsibility for men. Just one general term right now. We know that there may be layers. And here's the deal. This is
what I was trying to say is that she has to, in a woman who is marriage material has to study that man, or vice versa. That person has to study that person to know what it's going to take to please that person. Because you're not, marriage material is saying you're trying to be his wife or her husband. That his and her means it's personal. You have to study them enough to know, or otherwise you just want to be married. You don't want to be theirs. You don't want to be personally theirs. I think that's where people miss it at. is marriage material. It doesn't matter that you know how to cook or you know how to clean, because they may not need that. But what they do need to know is, have you studied that person enough to know what pleases them and what's efficient for them? You have to know that. And I think that's what makes you their husband.
Well, I'm going to challenge that a little bit, because, and I want you to get into the marriage ready, because I would say marriage material doesn't have to be personal. Like, it's not, I may not be, like, I can still be marriage material even though I wasn't Frank's marriage material. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm still marriage material. But
you got to have the ability to want to get out of yourself and be unselfish. So you have to have the ability to want to be unselfish and want to study somebody, have the ability and the capacity to study people. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of people who are self-centered, self-absorbed. They're in their self way, and yet they think because they cook, they clean, and because they cute, that's gonna make them marriage material. That's not.
We're talking about marriage material, and we're talking about marriage ready. So marriage, we got a frame for marriage material. What's the frame for marriage ready?
For me,
let Barzini have.
It's none of the above. For me, it's no such thing. You know what I mean? Either we're all marriage material or we're not, and hence this.
Oh.
What someone needs is going to vary from person to person, and what we keep trying to do is put a template on what you're supposed to be in order to marry, as if everybody wants the same thing, and we don't. You feel me? So what I'm saying is this: we all have different experiences coming up, and what I need from somebody is different from what you need, Frank.
Right.
Different from what somebody else needs. So my marriage material, I could be like, I don't care if you please me or not. I just want somebody living here. That could be marriage material. You ready to move in? Bam, whatever. That's not it. I'm just giving an example because your ass is like, you know,
get out of my face.
Right. But what I'm saying is this: we start creating these templates for relationships and marriage, and this is what it's supposed to be. We create these boxes to try to fit people in, rather than accepting them as the individuals they are and deciding that yes or no thing. You know what? You somebody I rock with, or you not somebody I rock with.
But the only reason, but what I'm saying is if you want something, Barzini, the woman has to study and present herself that you interpret that. There's a language of love.
Right.
She has to study you to know that your language of love is different than mine.
Right. And I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm saying is what I want is different than what somebody else wants.
And that's why she got to study.
So there's no objective definition of marriage material or marriage. You see what I'm saying?
Well, the definition is, Barzini don't like definitions. I haven't seen this.
But we have a yes and no, so you cannot like definitions and have a yes and no. So
right. I agree that marriage material is.
No, what I'm saying is this: I'm not going down. Okay, if Frank broke down, hey, your marriage material, if you're this, and this. And I'm saying, hey, Magee, I actually like you and want to be with you, but you ain't nothing on Frank's list, so you're not marriage material. No, I'm going to move Frank's list, and I'm going to say yes or no.
But I gave you, my list is only one thing. Her being able to have the capacity to study.
No, and I don't list. What I'm saying is, that's cool, but that's your list. My list is going to be different.
My list is not. Listen what my list is. I promise you, we're in agreement. My list and your list and every man's list who wants to be married is this. All of us want someone who's personalized to fit us. You don't want no clothes that don't fit you. You want her to fit you. I don't understand how nobody don't want, if you don't want that, then you don't want any wife.
I hear you. Well, you
know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. That's the only thing I'm saying is
right. So I'm adding on to it to add on to what you're saying. Because of that, right, means you're literally saying that there is no one definition because it's tailor-made. If it's tailor-made, then one size don't fit all, which means it's not a template, which means it's not a template.
Hold on, there's a comment that says,
let's not use definition. Let's use there's a criteria. I just think the criteria is you have to have the capacity, because I don't think everybody has the capacity, Barzini,
I would say the will,
their own selfishness.
Okay, so we're going to jump in here real quick because the people are asking for Andrea and I to comment. And
who asking that? Women?
Yeah, they want to know that criteria. So here's my
Wait, before you go, I just want to tell you, this is their problem. Magee, I'm gonna let you go. I just want you to know this is the problem. Women asked you to comment on what men think is marriage material and marriage ready. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna come back to that. They wanted to hear what the ladies feel like in our list and things like that. I won't go through a list, but I'll tell you what the one thing I've come to understand about the man I'm prepared for as a husband. He has to have room in him for me. What does that mean? That goes back to what Frank said about being responsible. I'm responsible, and this is, I remember the day I realized I'm responsible for a lot of lives. I don't have the opportunity to F things up for other people that are a trickling down effect because I don't have the right relationship in front of me, or I'm not in the right space. When I meet a man at this point in my life, I am responsible for other people and influential, whatever you want to say, ministry, however you want to say it. I need to know that he has that ability in him already too.
Ladies.
And here, I mean, this is why Jason and I get into it, because I'm like, look, I know I come with weight. I already know I come with 2 boys. I come with a home to manage and a great mortgage. Amen.
But this is all I'm saying. You like to you want to project somebody's propensity for whatever responsibility on them. Oh, well, no, I don't want to do that because they can't. Let him decide that. If he know what you coming with, he know you got 2 boys, he know you got this, and he's still deciding to rock with you, that's him. And if he can't handle it, you're going to find out. But you keep trying to decide for him before you ever get to.
And I guess, and that's where I think we're not intersecting, and this is why we're talking about relational communication, because there's a measure of time to figure it out. But there's a time, like, for example.
Why?
It goes back to what he said before. You have a problem with control. You want to control. That's your problem. You want to control, and you try to do it. You don't do it like other women do. You don't come from an emotional place. You like to come from an intellectual place. Period. This is what he just told you. Let the man decide on his own if he want to rock with you. That's
okay. But hold on, Frank, because now we're gonna go a little personal for a quick moment, and I'm doing this intentionally. So, decide in a situation, rocking, getting to know a person over a 6-month period, 9-month period. When the moment that it's time to go deeper, that person goes, "Oh, I'm not ready for that." When did you not know you was ready for that? You didn't know that you was ready for it.
When's the moment?
To go deeper.
When's the moment? Yeah, like,
okay, so
it's defined by time.
No, I think it's defined by situation. I think like.
But who determines that? One of y'all have to determine that, and like one determines, the other agrees, or one's filling it and the other has to agree. But at what point is that? Because you said it has to go.
So deep. Now this is why I want to talk about the reveal. So then I want to pose a question. Is there a point in a relationship that you make a decision to take it deeper, to go beyond getting to know each other and to start committing to one another? Is there a point?
That's a decision. Like, very rarely are both people feeling the same thing at the same time. Somebody's usually more ahead. You see what I'm saying? But when you feeling that, communicate that. You know what I mean? And if they're not ready, they're not ready. I think the mistake that a lot of people make is thinking that they're supposed to be ready when you're ready. And I'm not saying women or men, I'm saying that can happen on both sides. Sometimes men are ready to go to the next level and not there yet. You know what I mean? And she's like, I have this hang up, I have this, and he like, and so we think that this is the end of the relationship because we're no longer we find that we're not on the same plane. Sometimes it's just a matter of patience. Because I'll look at it like this. If I'm with you and, we've been rocking for a while and I'm ready to go to this level, but you not, what am I going to be doing if I break up with you? I'm like, I'm going to be alone now. There's nobody else who I really want. So I can continue. Hey, well, what do you need from me? Where is it that you're trying to get? How can I be involved in that? How can I support that? How can I help build that? How can I help you get there? Or actually, before we even get on that, is this something that you desire with me? Like this thing that I want with you, do you desire that with me?
Right. I had that conversation. That was.
And Maisha, no, that's actually one.
I was ready to move.
Experience.
You said what?
But Maisha said, why men great till they gotta be great? And then she said, that's her and her wine. I'm like, girl, no. I remember the place at the point.
But Barzini, you said something. You said
if you're the men y'all don't want is great. That just be the men y'all don't want.
Right. But Barzini, you said what am I gonna do if I'm not with you? I'm gonna be alone because I want you. The question is, and do the woman just want to be married? Is that why she got this time frame? Or does she just really want to be with you? Because if she really want to be with you, she gonna stay rocking with you. But if this is really about her having this idea, this picture of I need to be married and I need to have this, then she gonna be pressing the time frame. Then she is gonna press patience. And I think that people got to be real with themselves. Some people, they just need to tell the truth. They really want to be married, and they found somebody they think they can do that with. And then there's other people who say, I really want to be with you. And being with you hopefully leads us to the journey of being married. I think you got to ask yourself, which ones do you put up? Because otherwise you're going to push that time frame. And personally with me, a lot of women who pushed the time frame just ran me away because they didn't allow me to come into my own place.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I think
you want somebody that does that. You don't want, somebody that you are giving an ultimatum or you're pushing. You really do want them to come into that. I literally had that conversation with my fiance. So I identified that I was ready in 2017. We're in 2020, right? So, but in 2017, I was like, this is how I feel. And so we had a conversation about it. And my literal question was, do you see this with me? Because I'm not going to say time frame didn't matter, but it was more important to me to know, like, we at least have the same vision. We might not see it in the same time frame, but do we have the same vision? Because if we don't, or if you don't want to get married at all, we're wasting time. But if you say, yes, I want to be married and I want to be married to you, the rest is walking it out. And so, if I had it my way, maybe it would have come sooner, but who knows what would have happened with me having it my way. So, we got here. And I'm not going to say like that wasn't without, some eyebrow raises and some, how long y'all been together? And, this, that, and the third. Yeah,
right here in SoCal, just so y'all know. We trembled and rolled. I felt it. And I just mean, to me, I'm like, the conversation's good and juicy.
That's the hood.
Make sure you're watching, tune in, share it with your friends. It will be posted on YouTube later. But, and I think, Andrea, I respect that, is that, like, do I want to be married to you? And here's a real, and I know I'm going to get some flack for this, but when you meet a man or you're getting to know a man and he makes it very clear to you that he's not interested in marriage, not with just you, but just period at this time in his life for X, Y, whatever Z. That's a fair moment for a woman to go, okay, this was great. Thank you for letting me know. This is where I'm going to I'm going to get off the exit. And I don't want to, and then I feel like it's wrong for you to come back. I like hanging out with you. Well, my goal is full partnership, not you partnering with me on Tuesday and Thursdays.
Frank's face is killing me. I will say,
I'm trying to figure out how did y'all get so far down the line, liking to hang out with each other, and you did not know that the person did not see something that's important to you, like marriage. Like I'm trying to figure, because I think a lot of times what happens is I think we start backwards. We start with flesh connections, we start with soul ties, and then we try to work our way back. And we don't ask to. And
this one relationship, I'm not trying to go completely depth in it, but this one relationship, I remember clearly making a decision not to let the flesh be involved. I was like getting to know the person. This is really, and enjoying hanging out with the person. And when I talk about that moment,
how far into it were y'all, like time-wise?
It had to be about 9 months.
9 months.
9 months in.
9 months, you found out that he didn't believe in marriage. Y'all never talked about marriage before that?
I'm telling you, we were on the 105.
Did nothing for 9 months?
Did we not do nothing? No.
Jason, look at you.
Like
now that.
We do nothing for like 6.
Right. I'm thinking
you on a whole nother.
And I was like, oh, this is cool. We're having a good time. I'm getting to know him. I'm enjoying this different experience. And that's why I said I can't give you just a one moment, but there's always a moment in a relationship when people decide if they want to go deeper. And I remember with this person, we were getting on the freeway and he said, Mosi, I don't think I'm ready for marriage. I don't want to be married. And I'm going,
Well, those are two different conversations.
Why you got 95% of my time?
But I'm saying those are contradicting. He said, I'm not ready for marriage and I don't want to be married. Those are two. I think you have to kind of, what does that mean?
Is he saying,
to me, that meant that I didn't need to spend no more time with him. I didn't need to make him an investment the way that I had been making him an investment in my life, because to me, it wasn't going to equal anything. The moment it was going to like, okay, I really enjoy spending time with you. And I forget, I promise you, I do not remember how the conversation happened. I just remember that moment and the way I felt that, how did I get to know you at this depth and enjoying you and your company and being invested in your life, that you're telling me you're not looking to partner with nobody. Oh, okay.
So is it worth a deeper conversation? Because I had one of those too. I can't remember the time in the relationship that it happened, but the response was, I don't know if I believe in marriage. So to me, that was kind of parallel.
His response was he didn't feel like he was ready financially. He just felt like he didn't want to get off focus with his goals. And I'm looking at him like, we checking a whole lot of stuff off the list with me, brother. You checking a whole lot of your boxes. And I had to start looking at my boxes going like, oh, you're not checking no boxes, Mosi. But all his boxes are getting checked.
But does that mean he said he did not want to be married, or did he say
I have both.
certain things?
He said both. He said both at that time.
Did you ask because both of them seem like, I'm just sorry. Go ahead, Barzini. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying like, did y'all, what was the conversation after that? He said that and you were like, is being real, or did you like?
That was my question. Did you go into a deeper
did you ask
conversation?
Well, why?
Why? Right.
Well, no, the next question went into like, and that's when he was like, well, he didn't consider us dating. He considered that we were just hanging out. And I said,
well, that's why it took 9 months, because y'all didn't establish the nature of the association. So no, he didn't owe you an explanation or anything. Y'all not together.
Bull crap. Yeah, bull crap on the plate, and y'all know it.
No, you was a placemaker. When he wanted to go out to eat, he went out and ate with you.
Hold up, you was moving forward without a clear direction of what was going on.
Oh, but we can't do. We gotta figure out which one we gonna say.
You trying to hold him responsible for parameters that you equally responsible for setting.
So do you get to know a person, and let it evolve, or do you set parameters up front?
No,
y'all didn't have sex.
What you're saying? You're saying I was getting to know him. It just happened to take 9 months. Part of I don't want to be married. You found out something new about him in this process of getting to know. So I don't understand why you would be upset, because if you wanted something more earlier, you should have said something.
But I think she's saying her interpretation of those 9 months was that it was more.
Interpretation and getting an understanding.
I know. I understand. I'm just telling you what I received from her statement.
Go ahead, Andrea, please.
What Proverbs 4:7 say? Wisdom is principal thing, therefore get wisdom. With all that getting, get what? Get understanding. So you didn't get an understanding of what you were. If you didn't,
but that's not fair. She thought she did understand.
No, but all she did was she got to know him more. And because she fell in love with a great guy, doesn't mean that he was falling in love with her. We didn't talk about that. We was just hanging out, platonic. That's what that relationship was. She said it was a platonic relationship.
Right. So your words were
hold on, y'all. I said I took my time. I didn't say it was platonic.
So you said you were.
I said I took my time. I mean, we didn't get in it within the first 2 weeks and 2 months.
What I'm saying, you said 9 months.
Your words were.
I said we were in it for 9 months, but we didn't take 9 months to have.
And I'm reading some of the comments, and we can try to act if we want to. Like, you've been in situationships that have not been clearly defined. Y'all rocking. You going to the movies. You going to eat. You somebody's +1 at the wedding. You know that. And just because it's clear for you does not mean that it's clear for the other person. And I'm not absolving them of responsibility to get the clarity. I'm just saying that it exists.
Clarity on their situation. If you are unclear, it is your responsibility to get clarity. Is it not?
I said I'm not absolving anybody of responsibility. I'm just saying
that clarity came 9 months in.
Because we started this conversation like after 9 months, he said this. Like, when was there a time of the same way that she's thinking this, he's thinking this. So if I'm thinking we just cool, we just hanging out or whatever, then there is no specific.
But see, that's not fair, Jason, because I don't think you're listening to the whole what you just said.
Let me finish.
Because I took the 9 months to get to know him, right? I'm getting to know him. I'm realizing, hey, I kind of like this dude, and I'm checking with him. Do he like me the same way? And that's when he drops the bomb, like, no, we're not dating. We just hanging out. Oh.
So you asked the question, he was like, no, I don't like you the way you like me. I don't want to be married.
So it's okay that I need to adjust.
So what I'm saying is, but we tried to make it seem like he was wrong for giving you that information when he did information when
I don't think we tried to make him seem it was
It's
wrong.
not wrong.
Wait, hold up. Hear this. He had the same level of understanding about what it was as you did. You just happened to be on 2 different pages. You thought, hey, we're getting to know each other for something. He's thinking, and you're as sure that you're going somewhere as he is that we just friends.
Okay, I'm gonna read a couple of the comments from the people.
Hold on, because you're doing that thing again when I'm holding you accountable. You say,
I apologize. I'm not trying to be. I'm not accountable. I'm reading the comments and listening.
Yeah. We can get to the comments. No, I think we're in a good moment. Right.
Okay, go ahead.
All I'm saying is this: why does he have to be responsible to tell you something at a certain point that you waited 9 months to ask him about that? You waited.
So why am I irresponsible for asking him 9 months later?
You're
when
not.
I was comfortable.
You're not irresponsible.
So when I was comfortable 9 months in to say let's see where this is at. Let me temperature check this.
No.
How am I irresponsible?
No. I'm not. You're not irresponsible or wrong, but nor is he. Either you're both irresponsible or not. That's what I'm saying. So it's actually like if you were rocking for 9 months, you started feeling something. You did a temperature check. And he was like, I'm not where you are. I don't see a problem with either scenario. If that's the time that you decided to find out, so be it. It just so happened he wasn't there.
My perspective is this. A lot of, I'm going to go again. This is how I rock. A lot of women
I just want to know she's
play a game.
Time in these comments.
A lot of women like to play a game.
McIntyre, whatever. I'm like, every time I read a comment, it's I just want to hug her. Like, it's okay. It's been a lot of caps.
Well, here's the deal, because this is a dialogue. We're having a conversation. Of course, we're not reading the whole story, everything that was said, left, right. So people are kind of jumping in as they go. They're trying to understand what we're talking about, and they have their own opinions. But that's what we're happy. We're open for dialogue with people.
She says this. She was like, do men lead or not? If you want a man to lead and you want to wait for him, by all means, go ahead. Rock how you rock. Let me know how it worked out for you.
And can I just want to say, from my perspective, mostly, I think a lot of times women start to try to play a game that they don't have the capacity to play.
Okay.
So if you know that your vajayjay is strictly tied to the end result, you want to get married, then stop trying to play the game of, oh, we can have sex and be free. You don't have free sex. Your sex is a yoke sex. It's bound to what you're trying to get to is being married. And so you have a lot of these women who are trying to play this, I'm free, let's see where it evolve and it go. And you know that's not what's really how you operate. You know that you giving him some, you liking him, and you eventually want him to be yours. You're possessive. And that's what you have to be able to say. And so, and I don't know why it's so hard to say that. Mosi, ever since I've known you, you always think of the end before you think of the beginning. So you have always made up in your mind what's your end result gonna be.
Right.
You playing the game.
Okay, so now here's 2 things, because you did address me. I will say that's my stance in life, period. I look at things on the end result. That's how I get movement on most things. Now when it comes to the relationship, I don't think it's fair to say I come in with the end result. There was my whole period. Sorry, Mom. There was a definite period where I was
referring to
how many I was on the bench. Which one? I gotta rotate you because you tripping, no problem. There was definitely that time period of my life, and I have to, and I admit, some people fell into that were good men, but I wasn't in that marriage ready state.
No, I was referring to the obstacles that you put up before you even get to like the beginning phases. Like that's another version of oh, well, this could happen. This can potentially happen. It's all a risk. Anything could potentially happen. Like, you can be like, you could have the greatest person in the world, and it's like, if you
laughing because she knows it's true.
If you, huh?
we have some times, amen. Go ahead.
If you are single, you are someone, well, unless you've just never been in a relationship, but most of us are a series of failed relationships. And the thing is, it's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Not everybody, we have to get out of this mindset of where are all the good men and where are all the good women? Because what we're saying is we want a pool of people available to us that are checking for us exclusively, right? We want everybody to narrow their pool, but we want expansive options for ourselves because we have this thing to where we want to be desired and we think that we're objectively desirable and anybody would be lucky to be with us and I have no flaws. Like, no, it's that ability to look at self. It's that ability to self-check. And if I'm not getting what I want out of life, what am I doing wrong? Is that to say that there are not people that have hurt us or people that do us wrong? No, they are. But if we keep getting that, then what am I giving off that's allowing these people to do this to me? What am I doing that's attracting these people to me? What decisions have I made or am I making that keeps having this go in my life? And until I get honest with myself and tell myself the truth that I am the problem, then it's never going to change. And in the same speech that I was talking about, Dr. Wayne Dyer, it was an example he used. This lady, people were writing their story. This lady wrote her story in chapters. It's actually Googleable, if that's even a word. And I'm going to misquote it, but I'm going to give you the gist of it. She broke her life down into chapters. And it went something like this. She says, chapter 1, I walk down the street. There's a hole. I don't see the hole. I fall into the hole. It takes a long time to get out. I get out. I keep walking. Chapter 2, I walk down the same street. I see the hole. I still fall in the hole. It takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3, I walk down the same street. I see the hole. I still fall in the hole. It doesn't take as long to get out. I know how to get out. Chapter 4, I walk down the same street. I see the hole. I walk around the hole. I keep walking. And chapter 5, I walk down a different street.
Amen.
So what I'm saying is we keep getting the same results and we want to say that it's everybody else's fault. Man, what's wrong with these women that I keep getting? Man, these women out here, blah, blah. What's wrong with these men? Like, no, at some point it's like, what am I doing? What is going on with my mindset, my life? What am I emitting that is attracting this type of behavior to me? What is it about me that makes it okay for people to do me like this? What is it about me that's okay for people to want to use me for this? Because I'm gonna tell you one thing, and from the man perspective, men work off of referrals, right? And the way we treat you is often based on two things: how you carry yourself, or how one of the homies or somebody that we know told you how you are, right? So I'll use a club example. When we was in a club, the one that's out there twerking the nastiest, it's a line of dudes standing there like, and he tried to slide in there because he won his turn, right? And do you honestly think that he's really like looking like, man, that's wifey right there, look at that, you know? Some dudes maybe, you know what I mean? But we're thinking sex. Or you see someone and she bad, right? Like, oh man, hey, look at that, no. And the homie be like, when the homie goes like this, hey, nah, bro, she a good girl right there. Oh, for real? Yeah, she like, our approach gonna be way different. And that compartment, that department that we put you in of how we gonna approach and what we gonna want, like initially, is gonna be based on that referral. If you nasty and the homie know, hey, bro, it's A1, it's A1.
Let me tell the women, because if you're a woman and like, I've been classified as a good girl even when I wasn't the good girl. It is okay to be who you are. And guess what? And it's okay that he didn't approach you, which I know Jay's gonna say something different, or he didn't want to talk to you because he recognized, I ain't looking for a good girl right now. I'm looking for the one that's gonna twerk it for me 4 times a week.
How you know I'm gonna say something different? It's okay. If you are who you are, just rock with that. Just accept the results of it. That's all.
I mean, because I think what happens is, at least I'm going to talk from being a good girl's perspective. You get tired of being a good girl, not being able to enjoy dating.
Just be the good girl.
They're like, no, you a good girl. You're like, man, I'm over here just trying to.
Mostly.
Amen. Yeah.
The problem is You can't stay on the whole train too long. This is what people got to understand. I'm going to get to the point. You can't be on the whole train too long. See, women got to understand you got to peak. You got to peak. Y'all got to peak, especially y'all in college and y'all in the Greek world and all that stuff. You got to peak. Outside of your peak, it get rough. You got to think. And this is the challenge. I talk to a lot of y'all, now I'm in my 40s. I think it's different talking to girls younger. You got to think in your 40s, you got women who got married early who are now divorcing.
Yeah.
Right? Coming in. Then you got coming in there, you got women who coming out of relationships and they ready to get married. Then you got men who have come to the conclusion that they got something. And now that they got something, they think very different than when they was trying to put their foot up. Yeah. That's a different ballpark. And
what,
you coming as a woman.
When do we make that decision?
When do I make the decision?
What, as men, when we say, oh, we got, I agree with what you're saying. And
when you got a house, when your job is consistent.
It's what you show us. This is the difference between women and men describing somebody that they just met, right? Because your primary is emotional, your physical is secondary. You still want both. It's just you don't lead with the physical, right? So when you're talking to your hunger, girl, he's nice, he got a good job, blah, 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 blah. Like you naming off the stats, everything that's great about him. You know what I'm saying? And if he's physical, like, and he's fine too. Then you start, whatever's physical about him, you describe that second, right? It's important. You don't want nobody ugly, but that's your secondary, because women are also known to have a great dude who may not be as physically, and he starts getting attractive to you because of who he is and his character, and he working and he treats you good and stuff like that. Men, not so much. Like, if we're not physically attracted, we probably not getting far. So when we talk to our homeboy, like, bro, hey, that ass was crazy. Hey, face floor. We start talking about all her physical, and then we're like, bro, and she cool too. And she's smart, you know what I'm saying? So we start going into all of that stuff secondary. And there's
Ty Bobo's my dude. Or who's Ty Bobo?
Yes, Kiana. I love her.
Kiana, you my girl.
Yeah. So Laura said, if I what did she say first?
If I know a guy.
She said no. The first one she said that's the problem. Why treat someone based off of what someone else told you, or based off how they may allow you to? What happened to having integrity? That's Laura. Hey, Laura.
Oh, Laura.
Y'all do all this. Girl, I know this man. This good man. Y'all hook. Y'all hook y'all homegirls up all the time. Is that not the same thing? Is that not a referral?
You know what? That was actually a question I was going to have, because I don't see that happening nowadays. I don't see the hookups. Like, it doesn't happen like it used to happen 30 years ago.
The hell it don't. I got people trying to hook me up all the damn time.
Amen.
Oh,
Lord knows my inbox short on ring. They think most you should talk to.
Listen, I hate the same thing. But women, y'all, the homies, hey, I got somebody I want you to meet every now and then. But mostly, that's y'all playing Cupid, because y'all like to see people happy and y'all love and all this other stuff. Like, knock it off.
So wait, hold on. Like Kiana, so I want to read Carrie's statement too. But Kiana said, women coming out of marriages and relationships just want dick and want some of y'all asses.
I know.
After that, that's the truth. And then y'all be over here falling in love with that woman and wonder why she broke her heart.
Yeah. There's women. Oh, man. If first of all, can we say this though? A lot of women who, if you've been in a marriage, any person, men or women, if you've been in a marriage for years, you still going with a marriage mentality. Because the world has changed since the last time you was being single. They don't play that game no more. So you come in there, if you've been having married sex, you're having married sex with me. And if I'm single and you in there having married sex with me, and I know how to manipulate that, you sitting up there, you having sex, you getting up, cooking, you want to come up there cooking and cleaning and treating me like a whole.
What's married sex? I'm not married. What's married sex?
Married sex is when your heart. Married sex is when your heart and vulnerability is in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that ain't no.
And so now if that's where she come from. Now some people been married and they never had a marriage that became one.
Mm-hmm.
They were really they was cohabiting. They was just there together. They didn't really make no connection. But if you were really married and you was really having sex that had to deal with vulnerability and sex that had to deal with really opening your heart, how do you just now say I'm divorced and I'm about to change when that ain't what you've been used to? So you go into a thing and you give a man, you go in there having sex like you had with the last dude. And
but
what happens is if you don't adjust, you a problem.
Frank, that's assuming the married sex was good. And I'd like the married ladies, like in the comments or whatever, or mostly Andrea, if you guys want to chime in on this, when women cheat, right? And let's just say it's for physical reasons, it's not necessarily emotional. Let's say she got a great dude, just the sex is not great.
You try that D out first.
Do you think that may be trying to seek single sex?
Single sex?
Like, I don't even know what that is.
Maybe she don't want that. Oh, like it's always missionary. I don't know.
It's not. First of all, it's not a position. I think it's not a position. I think it's a heart. It's a posture. It's the posture of your heart. That's period. It.
So are you saying that women who have been married are incapable of separating their emotions from sex?
No, I think if you really marry, if your heart is in your marriage, I think men and women, if the way you have sex with your wife, if your heart is into your wife, I think if you really into your marriage, then I think that you open yourself up to having sex as vulnerability.
I'm gonna tell y'all a transparent truth.
But my question is, if you,
I'm gonna tell you a transparent truth when you talk about the different types of sex. Okay, and this is for the grown adult audience. Put your kids away if they listening, or let them listen and let them get some schooling. So I'm telling you, don't get fooled by that man that came out that marriage and he want to cuddle and hold you and hug you and babe and kiss all on you after it's done and it's, I mean y'all slept the whole night cuddled up. And then opposed to that single that he rolled over to the side, he done got his and you done got yours. He was like, woo.
Y'all gave each other high five, talking about.
And then he left. You know, it's different. What you gonna choose? You gonna choose a man that, girl, he held me and I got some in the morning too. He wasn't trying to run out the door. Oh yeah, he coming back.
Hey, let me ask you this, Barzini. Barzini, you single? How many times you looking straight in a woman's eye as you having sex with her?
Man, that eye, break that eye, break that eye. I'm telling you.
Listen. I'm trying to frame this creatively because I don't know who's watching because I posted this on my page. You put me in the spot here, Frank.
You ain't got to answer. I'm just saying.
I'll say this. This is what I will say. Okay, so some people that know me know I have a strict mediocre dick policy. If we not like in a relationship or I'm not giving you that good, I'm gonna give you just enough to get you to come back because I don't want no crazies on my life, right?
Ooh.
Like I'm gonna give you this good. Hey.
Yeah.
I'm giving you C+.
Exactly.
You ain't ever coming back.
I get that. What I got to do to pass the class?
Hell no. Oh no. Oh, you ever try that? I'm telling you, you would get escorted out the house before. Oh, wait. You know what? My kid's coming home. You gotta go.
No.
Plus might be better than your man's A.
Right, but no, I'll say this. In all seriousness, the level of the association, like what we are and how I feel about you, you know what I'm saying? Like you could be real cool, I could be attractive, but if we're not at that level, then there's just only certain ways that I'm going to engage. Because I do believe in honesty and I don't believe in hurting people.
Okay.
Right. So especially at this age, like when I was in my 20s, look, hey, it's your fault. You was here too. You know what I'm saying? I'm a lot more judicious in this age. And for me, I can't do random sex anyway. I don't need to be in a relationship, but if we're having sex, there has to be some level of connection. There has to be like, can we have a conversation? Like, do I want you to stay? Like, can we kick it? You know what I'm saying? Hey, let's grab some breakfast. Or do our interactions always sexual? Or can we go hit a movie every now and then? Like, if all it is sex, I'm not really interested in that at this level of my life. You know what I mean? It has to be another step. But as far as like a relationship Or if we working toward that, yeah, I'm gonna give you that good slide. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you that eye contact. We finna connect here. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say the word.
Listening, ladies.
A real married sex is married. If you married and you ain't had this, then you with the wrong person. Married sex is an experience. It should be. It's an experience, and I'm not saying you won't get it all the time, but you should, by the time you married and you ain't had an experience that has taken you out of body, that has not taken you to a place that you've made a connection. And I'm not just saying that happens in marriage. Yeah. Some of us.
No, it happens. It happens.
Yeah, I'm looking for my sinless experience. I'm looking forward to my sinless, non-fornicating experience.
You know, because that conviction gets you right. But there is some people who know how to take you into a place that transcends moment in time. And that's what I'm talking about. You ought to be able to have that experience that makes you say that is indescribable. And I think that a lot of people are cheating because maybe somewhere along the line they either experienced it or they have been told about it, and they are looking for that moment in place where they can be totally vulnerable, totally open, and they can give their heart in a place of purity.
Oh, that's good.
Right.
And that moment in that place. And that's why I don't necessarily ascribe. When I was younger, I did, but I don't ascribe to it. This is about getting experience, and most people can't because they come from a place of woundedness, because we all been broken somewhere, but their wounds inhibit them from being able to open themselves. Because a lot of them, again, I'm gonna go back to this selfishness. They're not marriage material to me. They're selfish and self-centered. So when they get in, they worried about getting a nut. They worried about getting an orgasm. They worried about you doing it the way they want you to do it or how they've been accustomed to doing it, instead of saying, I want an experience, and wherever we go, let's go there together. That's what you want in marriage. Right. If you don't have that, then you guys are not becoming one.
Right. Let me ask you this, and this will be with everybody actually. And I think this question is pertaining to the women probably more so. Is it just emotional? Because I hear like sexually when women having, like, there's several women who've never had an orgasm and all this other stuff, and it's not always the man. You hear a lot of women explain that there's a lot of women who don't know their body or don't know how to achieve or certain things. So like I receive what you said as far as marriage. I've never had married sex, never been married. However, how much of that would you say it's all emotional? Because what you just explained was like emotional and spiritual, but we can't negate the physical aspect of that too. Now you can love somebody all you want and still have bad sex. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like 3 inches is still 3 inches, no matter how you feel about them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
3 inches may need to get that little small. I
mean, look, she gonna have to know how to do tricks or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But you can't
know how to feel when you kiss.
Right, you can't.
So that you don't even walk yourself into some stuff that you ain't gonna want.
Or let me add this onto the question, and you guys kind of like fill in these blanks. Like, if sometimes sex is only as good as the best person that you've had. You know what I mean? And so if you had somebody that was putting it down physically, you may not have had that emotional connection, but physically it was like so bomb that you thought you was in love because you had that, you know what I'm saying? And then you're with this person and they don't perform like this other person here. You're in love with them. You have this like.
Okay, Frank said something I want to top into, especially when we're talking.
Wait. Stay right there, because I don't want us to miss this moment, because Barzini has said something. The problem is if and I'm gonna talk about marriage. Okay. If you walk down the aisle with me and you still have references that you're using, you're not ready. You didn't marry me. You brought me in the room with a whole bunch of other people. Period. If you have not divorced yourself, if you have not totally divorced yourself from that which was known to you and asking yourself to come as a clean slate, and that's why marriage is so much more spiritual than it is anything else. Because, sorry about that. Because
how's that even possible though? Like,
well, it's not that you forget. I don't think he's saying forgetting.
The same way that Nicodemus came to Jesus by night and said, "How can a man be born again? He must be born of spirit And that's why I say there is something spiritually happens. I don't care what religion you are. There's something, the only reason why we go down that aisle and come together, because somewhere we're asking for a higher power to bring us and transform us to becoming one. This is the only equation where 1 + 1 = 1. That's the only place. And that has to be dealt with a higher power. That's the only, otherwise we can live together. We can be domestic.
So to that I say this. We got to be real careful then about when, if, or with whom you walk down the aisle, because when you get in relationships, we keep talking about timelines and don't waste time and, oh, well, if I'm ready, or what do we do? Like, and folks start pressuring each other, and I'm not going to put it on the women because there's men that do it too, especially like when we get to a certain age, it's like, hey, I'm ready. And there's been women who've been pressured into marriage and not ready. So it's kind of like, if you are not mutually on the same page, you see what I'm saying? Like, it can't be, for me, it can't be all these years. Oh, well, it's been all this time. And like, it takes certain people longer, or certain things are going on, or there's conversations that need to be had. And we think just because we've been together for 2 years, this is just a natural progressive step, and we have to do this, or we're wasting time. You feel me? Or if we don't break up and we do get married and we waited till both of us were ready, what time did we really lose? You see what I'm saying? If you talk about forever, like if I want to get married now, but you not ready, but I still see it forever with you, then why would I not wait? Why would I not like dive in and help you get to that point? You see what I'm saying?
Well, let me ask this, Andrea. Andrea, you about to get married, right?
I am.
Do you fully trust him?
Yes.
That's what
with your whole life, everything, with your whole being.
Yes.
Everything of you. You trust him totally.
Yes.
Well, then guess what? And that's where I think most people, barzini, don't ask themselves when they're walking down the aisle. Mm-hmm. What does full trust mean? I'll put it this way. When the preachers say your vows are for better or for worse, we always believe of what's better. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I want you, before you get married, ask yourself, what can for worse be? And can I still be with you when the worst can be the worst, when it can be the worst, can be the worst, to be the worst, to be the worst, period. When I learn of you, do I love you enough to say I can at least try to justify why you did what you did? Or do I have, no, this, no, that? Then you don't trust. If you got a bunch of barriers and all of that up, you're not trusting, and you want to be married for the title of marriage. You're not wanting to be married to that person. And I would like to say this, a lot of men really know, men eventually get to a place and realize she didn't really want to marry me. She just wants to be married.
Yeah.
And Frank, I want to add in there is, because that's what I wanted to say with Andrea talking about full trust. And someone asked about sex earlier, something. It's the vulnerability. And so for me, and that's when I've ended relationships, when I recognized that I had to protect myself from you, because there was, you weren't protecting me, and you weren't thinking of me, and all your decisions were not a we, it was a you, and the we and us left. So when that happens, if I see that I have to protect myself in the closest relationship, one of the closest relationships that I'm going to have, then yeah, it's not going to work.
And it started for me with being more like noticing, and Jason was talking about it before with the whole self-discovery piece and holding that responsibility for yourself, right? Like, you ask the questions, you get the understanding, so on and so forth, or you make the changes so that you can get to the place that you want in your life. And so when I realized I was with someone that was also willing to do that, then I knew I was in the space, because I always hold myself accountable. Look who I got to deal with on a regular basis. Tell me. So, right. So I don't have a problem reflecting and holding myself accountable, but it is being in the space with somebody else that is like, it's always being pointed on you. Like, well, what did you do? What did you do? I mean, yes, okay, I've examined myself, but Jesus, what about what you're doing? Or what about what this person is doing? So for us to be able to meet in the middle and say, you know what, I'm flawed. This last situation was trash. I don't trust anybody, or I have a problem with trust, or whatever the truths were that we were willing to put out there. The understanding was, I'm going to do my work, And the other person said, and I'm going to do my work. And so it wasn't like, I'm trying to fix you. I'm keeping score of like, how have you been progressing? I was too busy trying to do my work. And then we looked up and it was like, oh, well, look at that. You know,
people in your life that are going to hold you accountable. I had to get to a point to where, like, one of my problems were I would talk to too many people. Like, I believe in getting input and perspective, but I was doing that wrong. I was talking to the wrong people. Like, I can't have I had to get rid of cheerleaders. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't talk to cheerleaders about your relationships and get perspective, because all they gonna see is, no, it's her, it's not you. You're awesome. You're my friend. You're too awesome. It's like, no, you need somebody that's gonna keep it real with you. And so I gotta shout out Maisha, because like when I would call her, I'm like, she already knew if I start the call with, okay, tell me if I'm tripping, right? And if I ask that, then I usually was.
You tripping.
But if I was wrong, she was always like, first of all, you're stupid, and so she had to interpret it from, because me, I'm logical. As a matter of fact, she had to referee a fight me and Andrea was having one time. Andrea was pissed at me at one of my birthday parties. Something happened and she wasn't able to get in or whatever it was. It was a long time ago.
I know. I was like, I don't remember.
I didn't get it. And so Maisha had to break it down to me like this. She was like, Jason, you're the type of person, if something doesn't make sense to you, you don't care about it. And I was like, that's true, because I'm logical to a fault. If something does not logically make sense to me, it's hard for me to have an emotional connection to it, because I don't understand it. And I don't fool with things I don't understand. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I don't understand what that wet stuff is coming at your face. It's not logical to me. Why you crying right now is not logical to me. And so hence I don't care about it. Right. And I wasn't trying, I'm not like that on purpose. I've since evolved. You know what I mean? I do, my empathy meter has ascended, but it was hard for me to connect to that, because I'm like, what are you crying for? It was like, all I said was, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was crying. Well, I must have really been mad.
You.
Well, I think Merge too. I'm like, if we crying, you might want to be happy to get out the house. I'm about to cut you.
No, you weren't
about to cut. No.
You was texting me, and so there was a lot of caps in your text.
Hey, Barzini, let me ask you this question, because you use a word that I think a lot of people skip over, and I think it is the key or entering into the door of great relationships. If you have, you have a better probability of having better relationships if you have this connection, accountability or accountability partners. I mean, real people that you really gonna tell the whole truth and don't feel like you got to be shamed in telling them this is what it is. And then when they give you their opinion of it, you accept it, whether you are gonna take it and go with it or not. You guys are open to that place. And if you have already started that work with somebody, it's easy to transition that into a relationship. But a lot of people don't have accountability partners. They have what you say, cheerleaders, or or men who are waiting. They lying in wait for their opportunity.
And you know, I want to give a shout out to some of my male friends, because I recognize in one of my last situation. Huh?
Are you crying?
No, me.
It looked like you started to cry.
No. I said I want to give a shout out to men, because I think. For me, I feel like it's a really great thing when you realize that both the man and the woman, whether you're seeking either, has an accountability partner in their life. They have people who actually hold them accountable. And
you gotta be willing to be accountable first. Like, no one who is not accountable for themselves first seek out accountability partners.
Well, I think that's a given. I hope you're not, you know what, that's not a given. There's people that expect stuff out of other people that they're not willing to do all the time. But let's assume that we're talking to people that are willing to be held accountable. You definitely should be looking to link up with somebody that has that in their life. Well, otherwise,
I'm the wrong person to talk to if you're not willing to be accountable. Like, you know.
But I mean, somebody in their life outside of you. Like if you're in a relationship, you have your circle or your go-to people.
Yes.
They need to have that too. The people that know them and the intimate parts of it that can check them and say like, you out of pocket. That's why a lot of women don't like their dudes' friends. Because it's like, I don't know what you could be doing out there because I don't believe that you're rolling with somebody that'll pull your card.
But but I think a lot of women need to stop playing the surface relationships, not the friends that you don't have. I see women all the time talking about that. This is that person is only telling you what you want to hear, or they're only talking to you y'all talking from pain to pain. You know what I mean? You need them. They're your crutch because she's not telling you, girl, what you just said is stupid. That's dumb. They not telling you, and a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people have surface relationships.
Well, I can't speak to that.
A lot of people, their relationship
I can't speak to that.
Is strictly surface. And it amazes me because I hear women who say, oh, that's my girl, we know everything. And then she'll be in a relationship, she'll be with a man and tell the man the deepest, uttermost parts of her heart that her homegirls and nobody else knows. Right. So my question is do we really have accountable relationships? Now, a lot of men, and I'm not saying they do, but sometimes men have accountable relationships based on, I may pull your card and be like, there's guys with me, I know you're going to go out and have some fun. You might do this. And I'll be like, hey, bro, you going to, that's too far. That ain't you. Come on back. Because my relationship with my dudes is not for me to be throwing the Bible down at him and fire and brimstone. Mine's is to know his limits. Because I'm not going to choose for him what he needs to do. Right?
Absolutely.
I'm going to guard him from making sure he doesn't make something that's going to totally destroy his life. Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? And so I want people to know that, like, your dude might got some friends. If your dude decide he want to go over there and play with that stripper, it's not my job to tell him, no, you know that you shouldn't do that. My job is you ain't about to give all your money to that stripper because I already know Andrea gonna check it. She gonna check the bank account, dummy. And so let me give you some money.
Even that.
You know what I mean?
Right. That's all I'm saying. Just, I mean, people that know you, that are with you, that are willing to speak on the situation. How you do it, I'm not saying, you lay, across or stand in front of the stripper so that he doesn't get you. I'm not saying all of that. I'm just saying there are some people who will turn a blind eye or act like they didn't see anything. And I'm like, what kind of friend is that? I have friends that I will absolutely, like, one of my closest friends, she's in a new relationship and, things are going. And I tell her straight up, like, you're being stupid. Or like, and we can do that.
And we normally have Andrea, you're tripping. That we're going to tell you. And about the second time I tell you, I'm going to just love you because all you want to do is just talk.
And I think the interpretation, if it is that we are like go girl, or we are permissive about things that don't make sense, and everybody's not like that. I can't say that nobody does it, but in my friend circle, the group chat stays popping. Like, you sound ridiculous right now. You've been wanting to be in a relationship. You in one. Dude is upstanding, treats you right. Like, why are you trying to find an issue? Like, those are the kind of conversations that we have. Or maybe, because of what happened before, maybe therapy is an option. Those are the kinds of conversations we have. It's real talk. It's not always, I mean, of course, you're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. So we're not going to slam you. But if you need to be told, if I see that you're about to walk in front of a bullet train, then, I'm going to yell. I'm going to grab at you. Something.
Dudes are way more permissive than women in that regard. Like, I'll be like, listen, I'm gonna tell you what I feel about it. I'm like, but I ended up like, hey, I'm your friend, not your judge, though. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
but you know us, we don't want the phone. If something go wrong and we didn't say anything, then we gotta hear more stories.
You screw up your relationship or your marriage as a grown man, and you made that choice. I'm still your boy. If you knocking on my door at 12 o'clock at night because you done got put out, I'm like, here's a blanket, there's the couch. You know what I'm saying? You good? What you need, bro? Let's talk about it. But I'm not in the business of keeping a grown man from making a decision is already a poor one. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be there for you.
And that's just the difference between us. That's the difference. If we talking about men and women, that's the difference. If we see something and like she said, you might have two times, right? I might say it, and then I might make my voice louder. I might text it, then I might call you. But we're going to say something. Somebody you love, somebody you care about. We're not just going to, you know, let you go out there and wreck your life, especially if it's something that we've done or been through.
You got something that's like, because I done hollered at women and then found out they with somebody and they homegirls. Girl, you better go well.
Yeah, well, again, I can't speak to that. I know trifling exists.
Listen,
we got about 10 more minutes.
Just tell me your people talking. You know,
I'm looking. I'm going to see what they're saying and see. Okay, yeah. One of the things I saw Betty said, grown folks gonna do what grown folks want to do. Period.
That's
yes.
true.
And if my girl Angie Miller was on here, she's gonna say, men do what they want to do, women do what they want to do.
Absolutely.
And we're not dragging each other.
Yes and no. We make as grown people, we make decisions, but that may not be what they want to do. There's always a why to everything, right? And a lot of times, if we're talking about infidelity,
I'm like, it's the same thing.
You said what?
It's the same thing.
Semantics.
No, I don't think he knows.
Not semantics at all. No, what I'm saying is it's not the yes or no, I did it or didn't do it is very simple and very clear. But there's still a why. You know what I mean? And that whether that relationship is going to last or not, or whatever, or if that person's going to continue to do it, if they don't figure out or fix why they're doing what they're doing, they're going to keep saying yes to that, to the decisions that they're making. And so that's why we've talked before about when we talk about, like, to say it's just that decision. I think we feel like we can't contribute to someone's infidelity. The decision is yours, yes, but there's always a why. And so when someone cheats, they are missing something, and it could be from their own whatever, or it could be they're missing it from you. And I also believe this, that one, I don't believe cheating is just having sex outside the relationship, but that's how we like to classify it. Entering into a relationship with somebody or a marriage, it's entering into a contract saying this: I'm agreeing to provide those things which you cannot provide for yourself that are required from another person.
Walking water, heavy.
Or whatever, or sex included. So when someone has sex outside the relationship, what you're saying is you gave to somebody else what is supposed to be reserved for me, right? So when you out there sharing your thoughts, or there's certain conversations where they talk about emotional cheating, whatever. So if you are depriving your partner of those things that you agreed to provide them, you're cheating on them. You see what I'm saying? But we don't focus on that part. We only focus on the partner's decision to go elsewhere to get it.
Because we focus on
the action.
But we focus on what we think men do the most. And they think because men cheat the most, we focus. But a lot of women are supplementing their relationship with their best friend. You ain't giving your man, you instead of telling your man your vulnerability in your heart, you telling your best friend, you telling frat, you telling so-and-so. All of those are cheating relationships. You're not giving your full self to your person. You giving your full self to all over other places. People are supplement. We have a lot of supplements in relationships because we're scared to give somebody totally us.
Okay, let me ask you, can I ask you, because I feel that. But let's talk about how some men think that women talk too much. We too chatty. We have all the things. Look, right? So if I'm I need to get this off my chest, right? This is bugging me. And I go talk to whoever because you're going to check out midway in my story. So what about?
I'm not talking about you wanting to have venting and all of that. I'm talking about there are moments there. If your guy best friend or your guy friend
or your work husband,
if however you go, if they know you and know how to rock you, and you go to them for crisis before you go to your marriage or your relationship, then it's supplemental. That's all I'm saying.
I got you.
Go to them for the crisis moments. If you go to them and you're able to do that, and sometimes it's because that person may have known you before. Like you think about, I listen to what Barzini say. Just think about some woman. This is why I say, let me go back to my marriage material. A woman has to want to come study Barzini because this is what she has to come into. Barzini has friends, he said, I think, I don't know, was it Lauren? It was one of
Maisha.
the friends you said here.
Maisha.
You got Maisha and you got Andrea. They know you. And in order for me to make sure that they're not supplement, that you're not going to them and you coming to me, I gotta study you enough to know. I gotta watch and see what it is that's gonna make you feel as comfortable to open your heart up like you open up to them, that you can open your heart up to me as a friend. Most people don't want to do that work. And that's what I'm saying is and that's probably why you're not married now, because no woman want to come in here and do the work.
I'll tell all the ladies, not just the ladies, but I'm speaking from the male perspective to the ladies, and I'm pretty sure it's true for the reverse. I'm open to share with them because I don't fear the consequence of the information that I'm going to share, right? If there's no judgment, after I tell them what I tell them, the relationship does not change. Okay. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that is the difference between. And so I had like my ex, she said like when the relationship was like on the decline and everything else, she sat on the couch crying. She's like, I want to be your best friend. I don't want to marry my best friend. My best friend are both in relationships. Like I do. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm not hiring for best friend. I'm hiring for wife. There's a vacancy for that. And I see your face, but for me, wife, it trumps all of that. My woman always comes first, period. You have the opportunity. Too many women are trying to erase my past and my firsts. You can't never be my first love. You can't never be the first woman I lay down with. You can't never be my first kiss. You can be my first wife. You can be the last woman that I've kissed. You can be the last woman I make love to. You can be like, I want somebody who wants to be my last everything, not my first. You can't be my first. Okay. I've been friends with them over 20 years. You cannot erase 20 years of friendship. I don't think they should erase, but if a woman coming in and she wants priority. She has priority. So don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying
no, she don't have priority.
I mean, my wife has priority.
It sounds good in theory. I'm talking to you. We all start off like that on this side, and then what happens is no. I'm saying when you get on the other side, the places of comfort, the places of therapy are the places that are non-judgmental. And if a woman has not worked on not being judgmental to a man, period. Non-judgmental to a man, because men, we already know their egos are fragile. We already know they got big egos. We already know the genetic of a man. If you are going to be judgmental to a man, he's going to always go to a place of non-judgment. So exactly. Therefore, she's not priority. I don't care how cute she is. I don't care how much you tell her how much. I don't care how much you make it an R&B song. Hold on. She's your wife, but if she's judgmental, it's not going to work.
No, what I'm saying is this. You have to establish that, one, I ain't met her yet. I'm not with her yet. You see what I'm saying? So when you come into my life, when you establish that, yeah, you're going to get that. Does that mean that I'm not going to talk to my friends? No, I'm going to still talk.
No, I'm not saying you don't have to talk to them. I'm saying that there comes a moment in time where you begin to watch relationships change. You begin to watch and say, the same type of conversation that I have, that I value on Andrea. The mm-hmm. same way I value her, I value my wife on that level and more, right? And more because she's my wife. But what I'm saying is it's because she has surpassed the women who already have showed you this is what makes Barzini safe. This what makes Barzini open to listen. This is what makes Barzini accountable.
That's what many women have done well.
So we're not saying anything different. That's
you guys are.
Oh yeah, Barzini. Majority of stuff we're gonna say is the same. We just come to it a different way.
Right, and I'll say this, like they know. For me, my desire is this. I want my woman to have relationships with my friends. You see what I'm saying? With my homegirl. So I need you to know firsthand.
You gotta introduce her first. He was with a whole chick.
Because first of all, there's levels. I got to date somebody that I want to introduce to the circle. Y'all not gonna get everything. It's kind of like if I introduce her, then y'all gonna be like, okay, is this something like, wait a minute, hold on, you introducing somebody? But like, if you ain't even to that level, what's the point? But what I mean is,
let's hook up Barzini, y'all.
I think what you have to make up your mind.
Barzini.
Men and women both have to make up their mind that that's what they're seeking. We can't play this game back and forth about we're gonna figure it out down the line. You have to go with a made up mind that what you are seeking is partnership and someone that you can introduce to your friends.
I mean, I want that from you. No, I'm going in. I made up my mind that I want to know you. I made up my mind that I want to figure out who you are.
Right.
And like, do I want my general? Is this? Do I want to be married and have a family and everything else? That's my aim.
When you make up your mind is when you get what you want. No. Or when you get what you want, when you just.
I think no, you're missing it. This is the problem. Most people, I'm gonna go say it again, are surface. That's it, and they think all men are surface. Y'all think that we some type of like we some type of barbarians and stuff. If I just cook, clean, and F them, that's it. No, you need to come with more. You need to grab his mind. He's a hunter. You need to be able to grab his attention. Make sure that he understands that the game is totally focused on you. You need to take. I think one girl said it on here. Where's she at? She says you got to be able to have enough mind game to make him feel that he's in control, but he's running the game. Barzini said, I am the man, I'm in control. But the reality is, if she holding the GPS, you driving, but guess what? She knows on that GPS where you was gonna take the 105, but it's shut down.
Listen.
She know on that GPS, so she can make you feel good all you want, but unless she can get you to go around that 105 that's shut down, you're gonna be frustrated because you're gonna be stuck in traffic.
This is a free game about me and most dudes. And I've said this out of my own mouth. I don't have to be in charge, I just have to think I am. And if you know how to finesse me in a fashion to where I feel like I'm in charge, I think I'm in charge, I got this, I'm trying.
The truth comes out at that.
You know what? This is
it's a skill.
It comes out.
Finesse me out.
Ladies, keep doing you.
No, B. You know what the problem is? This is what's so sad. We've dropped the bar so low, Barzini can come and tell you the game. He been telling women, you just got to make me feel like I'm in charge, and they still can't. The women who dating them still can't rise to the occasion. All you got to, I'm giving you, how do I give you the recipe? You still can't make the biscuits.
It's a cat Marshall Silver.
I'm not gonna touch it.
I gave you this definition before of influence, Andrea. This cat, his name Marshall Silver, he said this. He said, influence is not getting someone to say yes. Influence is getting someone to say yes and they think it was their idea.
Come on. Yeah. Power.
And so my mama taught me that.
I know how to do it. So it's kind of like when he's sitting there beating his chest, like, I done told you, woman. I know, baby. You said it. You the man. I got it. Right. And she like, when you learn him, and men, I'm not telling you nothing you don't know, but you just really just got to pay attention to how true I'm about to say is. And I can almost say every man. I'm comfortable in saying every man, gay, straight, or otherwise. We are creatures of habit and pattern.
Yes, sir.
If you watch a man, like you can watch a man, if you live with him, watch how his ass come home, and I guarantee you, just watch him for like 3 days straight. He's gonna do the same thing every time he comes in that door from wherever. If he's coming home from work, like me, I know
you're gonna lose your mail card.
I'm gonna put my key down.
This is why I'm like, you can't lie to me because I watch patterns. I pay attention.
Wait, hold on. Then why do you got trauma from being lied to?
What?
You said you had trauma from being. Don't.
Because I still saw the damn pattern. I saw the pattern.
Here's the thing. Listen, I can't have it both ways. You can't be. Oh, I watch. I know when he lying, and then you still get.
No. I said I watched for patterns, and when that pattern pick up, and I can see the pattern. Oh.
Listen. Just okay, but. Listen to what I'm telling you.
Now I gotta call you on a lie.
Hold on. Just listen. You still worried about lies and everything else. I'm telling you.
No.
Listen.
Get excited.
If you always looking for lies and all this other stuff he gonna do it, you gonna find it.
I'm not looking for lies. I'm looking for your pattern.
Oh, listen. Because you just said it. I'm talking about.
No, I'm not looking for your lie. I'm looking for your pattern. Mosey has a pattern.
Mosey, you still not listening to what I'm saying. I'm going in a totally direction, and you still going back to obstacles and lies and stuff like that. Don't do that.
We talked about patterns, sweetie.
Can I finish talking about my pattern then?
Yes, please do.
Absolutely. The problem right here.
All right. So I'm talking about winning.
Damn irritating.
If when you know his habits and his patterns and everything else, you can learn how to maneuver yourself, to maneuver him to doing the things that you need him to do, because you know, hey, blah, blah, blah. And basically, when you know his habits or patterns, you're going to know the perfect time when to talk to him. You're going to know the perfect time when it's a good time to say this particular thing. You're going to know the perfect time to ask him to do these particular things, or for that particular purchase, or, hey, I was thinking about us doing this.
So here's one thing we haven't talked about. We haven't talked about character, because I can manipulate the pattern, yes, but the character of the man is what holds the weight. So if it's not in his character to hold or sustain anything that he's doing.
Okay, that's not that's not what I'm talking about.
Or the woman too. He can manipulate her into getting the things that she wants. But if the character of the woman, you be in that relationship, y'all be broke and you be hungry and trying to figure out why the house ain't taken care of.
But Mo, I'm not talking about manipulation. I'm not talking about manipulation. Again, don't negatively charge it. I'm talking
about character. So I said character, Jay.
Right. So, but
I said we haven't talked about how character actually plays into that. So we can pay attention to patterns and things. But whatever a person can do anything. What's the saying? You could do anything for a short amount of time, but it's the character that sustains that which you have and that which you create.
That sounds cool, but no, some people can live.
Your patterns, whether you got good character or not, your patterns are still your patterns. You can have a man with horrible character and great character that has the same pattern of what I'm talking about, how he lives his everyday life. I'm not talking about what he says or if he lies or I'm just talking about the pattern of how he moves day to day, from the time he wake up to the time he lay his head down, how that man moves. And when you know his pattern, his moods and everything else are intertwined with his patterns. Like if you know the average man don't want to hear about your day first thing walking through the door.
Wait, I was about to say that. Come on, Doc, talk now.
So
let me come down.
As soon as he hit the door, he don't want to hear, let me tell you what Teresa did.
He just want to unload everything.
Like, can I come in? Can I take a real quick? Can I grab a Rice Krispie treat out the pantry real quick? Can I grab a beer? Like,
can I pee? Because I've been holding this pee
before I take yours. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm talking about is just when you know how he moves, right? And you know his moves. When you learn a man enough, you'll know what he's gonna say long before he ever says it. Which is why somebody else, you gonna ask, like, Frank, I know your wife, somebody done asked your wife to ask you to do something and she done answered that, she never come to you with it because she done answered it for you because she know exactly what you gonna say. You think Frank can help me come over here and move this dresser? Nah, Frank ain't about to move nobody dresser, I'll tell you that right now. You know, I don't know whether you would or not, but she knows you well enough to know what, because she knows your patterns.
And so in the spirit of the relevancy and for the people that you're sharing this with, I really feel this, that we have to be careful, because you can get into a situation that you manipulated yourself into, man and woman. And it's going to come a time that you got to carry that. So be careful. Be careful while you're paying attention and you slide in and you showing him you the best of everything and you can do this, you do that. If you know you cannot sustain it, give yourself, either train yourself in it, become it. Don't fool yourself into thinking that you're gonna be able to keep something that you manipulated yourself into.
And then I think too, first of all, you gotta be sustainable. Whatever. I mean, well, first of all, you should be true to yourself. So don't try to be something somebody wants you to be. You should be genuine to your pattern. But also, guess what? People evolve and change, and so we always have to come back to the table of renegotiation. I learned in my marriage, we got to come back to the table what we wanted. So, especially, let's talk about COVID. In my relationship, me and my wife are high achievers. We work a lot. Our relationship, I would say, hey, it was powerful. But now, guess what? All work is stopped and we at home. Right. Now we got to talk a lot. Well, my wife likes to write how she talk. I like to talk as I'm walking through the stuff. She like, oh my God, this overload, what's going on? She want to write it down. We have to now find a way to communicate, because we're spending now, where we were spending 5, 6, 7 hours at home. Now we're spending 18 hours at home. You get what I'm saying? And so you got to learn how to renegotiate those relationships, and it got to be fluid and it got to be able to flow. And I think and then you also have to know, I think as Barzini said, you got to know that man's pattern. If you know it's going to be, he needs to be able to detox, then let him detox. If you know he needs quietness or whatever pattern he needs to help him be able to function and put his other hats on, then you got to be able to pay attention and be aware of that and know that. That's all I'm saying is I think if women spend more time really studying the man they're talking to instead of listening to other women and talking to other people, and really look and stop. And my biggest problem is right and wrong, because we go in relationships about right and wrong when it's not. It's really about strengths and weaknesses. It's about where's he weak, where's she strong at, where's she weak at. This is what I'm at. And can I deal with that or can I not deal with that? Listen, if your woman is not the most cleanliness woman in the world, you beating her head over it is not going to do anything. The problem is can you tolerate a woman who doesn't clean?
Hell no.
No nast. We don't do nast.
What you think?
Baby, real happy.
I think a lot of people be sitting up saying, I know myself. And what you really know is you know what sex positions you've been taught, you know what nasty stuff you like doing, but do you really know your limitation of what you can handle, what you can't? What's your stressor, what's not your stressor? What is your pet peeve and what's not your pet peeve? These are the things that begin to help you when you have a relationship.
Let me say this, because I'm looking at the comments too. The word manipulation, I know like everybody's used it, and I think what I identified Jason saying, not, and manipulation has negative connotation, but I didn't take it negatively. If you're hearing both him and Frank saying like they're okay with, they're actually giving us the key to manipulate them, but not in a way that I think it's being put in the comments here, like,
I think it's
manipulate him into giving you his social security number so you can clean his, credit out. It's not like that, but it's just giving you the cheat codes to know how to best interact with him, how to get the best experience from him or with him. It's not necessarily like, oh, I have to trick you into marrying me, or I got to trick you into, it's just how we can best have that flow. I told JD, I said, hey, I wanted to pick our wedding date. And I was like, hey, what do you think about such and so date? And he was like, oh, I don't know. And immediately I was like, okay. And I went on into something else. So a couple of days went by, this N-word gonna text me like, you know what? I think such and so date, same date, is a perfect day. I looked it up, it's a Saturday. And so I'm cracking up, but to me, that was that same situation. I let him think, okay, it's not even important to me. I gave you a date, but you know what? You don't know. And I got the date that I wanted anyway. So, I mean, I guess it could be classified as manipulation, but I know him well enough to go, like, I wasn't about to go back and forth about it, or that was actually my idea. It was just like, okay, cool. We got to understand it. We got a date. I think it's more along the line, even if you think about sales, and mostly this is our zone, sales and marketing, we manipulate people all the time. You don't want to call it that, but a buy one get one free is manipulation.
If you got a job,
it's finding the need and feeling it. I think manipulation comes into when a person's character can't sustain. That's what I was saying. When a person,
it wasn't. I didn't take it to be that deep. It wasn't.
It wasn't even like a character thing. It was again about pattern and habit and knowing. Like for instance, I'm the type of person that you have to emphatically convince me of something to change my direction on a decision that I've made, right? And if you can't do that, then you have to, like, if you know your way of doing something is better than mine, but you're unable to convince me of it, you have to, I'm the type of person
we can hear him, but you're a little spotty.
Okay, how about now?
So I'm the type of person, you have to let me fail, and then I'm gonna come back and be like, hey, babe, you know what? And then I'm gonna do it your way before I told you I failed, though, right? So if you saying, Bars, you know what, this will be a better way if you do it like this. I'm like, nah, because I already have it planned out in my head. I see it, and it's very hard to deter me from that. And it's not because I'm being stubborn or don't like to listen. It's going to work. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes you just got to be like, you know what, I already know what he's going to do is not going to work, and he's going to come right back around and do it my way anyway. So let me go ahead, and as long as it's not costing the household, costing money, let me let him go ahead and fall on his ass real quick. and he's gonna come right back around. That's the kind of thing that I'm talking. You know me well enough to know. So I'm gonna come back. Hey, man, remember when you said the 105 was closed and I needed to take the 710 instead or whatever? You was right. Because I went
every time.
And
a lot of men are hands-on though. A lot of men they learn hands-on. They get the experience hands-on. I don't think it's manipulation, but guess what? And this is why I want women. You do it when you go to that job. You put on them clothes that you didn't want to clothes. When you go for that job interview, you put on a role for everything. At church, you got a role on. You got a role on at that job. You got a role for the white people. But then when we ask you to put on a role for your man, that's manipulative. Baby.
And maybe
I ain't gotta
it should
do
be
that.
influence. Maybe that's a better word. Maybe that's more palatable.
Lingerie is influence. Lingerie.
That's what I said. Maybe it's just influence and not manipulation.
Represent who you are.
It's seduction.
Who you
No,
are.
I want you to get more than influence. You need to be seductive. I tell women all the time, you, instead of getting mad at the stripper, you need to go figure out how she getting everybody money like she getting, and you can't get a date from your man. You got to understand the power of seduction. There's a book by Robert Greene called The Power of Seduction. You should read it because you got to learn how to be able to get
Brian.
to know him. Boom.
Hey, B-Love, he's like, woo, hey, Crystal. Oh, Camille.
Yeah,
we're going to bring you to a close.
We've been in it.
The people, they love you. We love you, people. And remember, we're talking about relationships. We're talking about communication.
Wait, why I look up his 500 comments?
I know. That's what I'm like.
Because folks is in it. They
read all of them. But represent who you are. And so let's go to some parting words. Like, let's start with Jason, what are some parting words you have for the people, and share what you have coming up also, how the people can stay engaged with you?
Well, one, excited to announce that the Tech Diva here, first of all, let me just shout out Andrea, because within a 48-hour span, we went from brainstorm to creation on all social media platforms, all of the artwork and everything else, from all of just her expertise in all things media. That our podcast, The Crossroads, will be releasing soon. So please hit me up about all that information, and she'll give you more information on how to get on the email list for when that drops very soon. Of course, the book that we've got, Hello Me, Nice to Meet You, A Journey to Self-Discovery, is available on Amazon. You can just search my name on Amazon, Jason Barzini Hannans, and the book will pop right up, or you can Google Hello Me, Nice to Meet You, and I'm popping right up. I'm excited about that. The response has been very great. But my parting words for everybody is just like, my company slogan for Barzini Enterprises is simplify life, mobilize ideas. And I think that we often make life far more complicated than it needs to be, because we make excuses for not wanting to do the hard work that it takes to change, period. And you have to be able to look in the mirror, face yourself, and be willing to do the work to become that person that you desire to be, and to become that person that someone else is going to desire. Because as long as you are focused on saying the same and making excuses for being in this place that you don't even want to be, in this place that you don't even like, then you can't expect somebody else to want it either. Knowing yourself, having that relationship with yourself, being kind to yourself, treating yourself, no one can treat you, you can't expect anyone to treat you better than you're willing to treat yourself, right? Your self-love is the bar for anybody. You see what I'm saying? So you set that standard. So when you come in, people can detect when you don't love yourself. You know, we may not like pinpoint, like, she don't love herself, so I'm gonna treat her like this. Like, no, we see how you carry yourself. We see what you do. We hear what you say, like all these things. So just build that confidence in yourself, move with confidence, become more self-aware, more self-reflective, and to reach that point of self-actualization, to become that person and constantly grow and become that person. And you'll see so much more success in your life. And I say this because it's worked for me. The day I became accountable is the day I started to ascend.
Andrea, tell the people what you have coming up, any parting words you have. And Kiana, I see you. We love you. There are so many people in your comments. We will come back in and share our thoughts with you all. But believe me, some of the chuckles you've seen us laugh a moment is because we're reading your comments. So,
and I've been tapping like and love and laughing face on all the comments that I've seen. So I'm looking. paying attention.
I mean, it's so much fun. So much fun.
Absolutely.
Can you
Absolutely.
shout out? Yes, it does. Amen.
Absolutely.
Okay,
So
man,
I dropped the link for the email list for our launch of the Crossroads podcast. It's really exciting actually to be able to share what I do directly with Jason. Like he's, been a part of kind of all these iterations in my life, but to like kind of what I didn't physically see him, but I felt like it was a jaw drop moment when he saw everything come together and how it came together. So that's been a lot of fun, and I really can't wait to launch this with him and have these conversations, really about life, finances, love, business, health, all the things that, we talk about. Is just I'm going to put a microphone in front of us and invite folks to share with us. For me personally, of course, with all the things that are going on in the world, I am directing my platform. And for those of you who kind of jumped on and you're like, who are you and what do you do? I'm a life and business coach. I work specifically with women to build lives they love through their businesses. And so I work with you from idea to inception. And my areas of expertise are in sales, marketing, and technology. We use those things to make your life simpler. One of the things Jason said to me, he said, "With your old efficient ass." I said, well, that's just what it is. There's no need for us to be all over the place. Running a business, many times we really just, kind of forsake our lives, our health, and all of those types of things. So what I have learned to do is bring those things together. With that, I'm offering a free email marketing mini course that I am gifting to entrepreneurs or those of you who are starting your businesses, because I understand these platforms are fickle and you still need to be able to maintain contact or start contact with the people that you're connected to, your audience. Even this platform here, if there are those of you who are coming here on a regular basis, you may want to hear from Magee directly in between these opportunities. So that's something you can connect with me, or if it's okay, I'll drop the link in the comments. My parting words in terms of communication, and one thing I thought about even today was that I literally had to shift my communication style with my partner. I have always been very direct. I want to handle it now. No, I don't want any small talk. I don't want any how you doing when we have something between us. Let's get to it. Let's get over it. And then we can go on in Jesus' name. But that's not everybody's thing. Some people need time to simmer. Some people need time to think. And so as I learned how to kind of ebb and flow in that relationship, it prepared me for right now, which some of you know, and maybe many of you don't. My fiance is overseas. I can't even talk to him when I want to. So if I had not disciplined myself over these years that, hey, I got to hold it, or I have to wait for the opportunity, I'd be crumbling. I'm not happy right now, but I learned how to manage that because I've literally been, in training over these years. So everything that doesn't necessarily feel good sometimes, it's not about settling. If that's how you feel, don't do that. But in a relationship that you're going to count on or say, this is my forever relationship, I agree with Frank on the willingness to stretch for your partner, to be what your partner wants and needs. And then, of course, you want the same thing in return. So thanks, Magee, for the opportunity. And
You're very welcome.
I'll see y'all in the comments.
Yes, and Frank, tell the people what you have coming up next.
Well, a couple of things I just want to say. First of all, Magee, kudos to you. Thank you for the opportunity. Five single women who really want to go on the journey to being married. It starts with you. 5 single women, DM Magee, and I'm going to pay for Barzini's book for you. 5 of you, I'm going to pay for Barzini's book for you. Single women, single.
Get your book.
I want you, but you got to really want to do the work. Listen, I just want to tell people is this. I end with this. Marriage is you're married. When I do people's wedding, I tell them that your wedding is 2-part. It is going to be one of the best moments of your life, and it's your funeral. You got to die to singleness. And when we don't die to singleness and we take singleness into our relationship, then we don't enjoy what togetherness means.
Yeah.
And so I learned, because I didn't do that, I had to learn how to enjoy pleasing and being able to be that role for my wife that she needs, and being happy and joyful of being that, instead of saying I need to just be who I am. But I need to be who I am because me being a husband is a priority of who I am. And so you have to change your way of thinking. And so your marriage day should be your funeral too. And so that's what I would try to tell people, is because if you don't do that, then guess what? You're going to find yourself running into some hard stumbling blocks. And so that, and the part of this book is so important at Barzini. I haven't got to read it yet, but if the book is talking about accountability, I believe a lot of people have never, ever, a lot of people don't know what that means about accountability. And I think that you need to be able to do it. The first time I heard of accountability, and I'll be done here mostly, is I had a frat brother who is a pastor, a preacher, and he said, all right, and we were single. And he said, all right, we're going to be accountability partners. And I was like, all right, we're going to be accountability partners. That's cool. All right, I'm with it. We're accountability partners. He's like, all right, well, we're going to touch bases Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. He called me on Monday. He said, man, how was your weekend? I said, it was well. He said, cool. He said, how many times did you masturbate this weekend? Not gay, not nothing. Right. He said, we going to get to the real deal. He said, you didn't, how many times did you, I was like, hey, bro, what is you talking about? Like, it threw me off. But he made me and forced me to talk about places and to hold me accountable in places and to say, bro, if we're going to be accountability partners, I don't care what you're scared to talk about, what you're ashamed to talk about. We need to be able to talk about it in order for you to be who you want to be. You say you want to be holy, well, then we're going to talk about the areas in which we're going to hold you accountable to it. Yeah. And that opened me up to understanding accountability and how important it is. And so I believe if you go on this journey with Barzini, and it's talking about you holding yourself accountable and building accountability partners, I think it'll be a wonderful thing, and it will help you in your life, and it'll help you become married. So that's it.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. I have enjoyed everyone. And as you know, Dialogue with Mo is traditionally on Mondays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific time. And so tomorrow I will actually share my journey, and it's called Prune for Success. And I'm sharing that with Jennifer Anderson. So tune in tomorrow at 1, and you'll see more. And next week we have an all-male panel talking about the Black men, brotherhood, fatherhood, and more. And so you'll see those dynamics coming for the rest of the month of June and continuing. Some of the people that are commenting here, I have a list. I have an APB out to talk to you. I'm excited. If you're looking for what we have going on, I'm starting a new program, and so that we can stay connected. And allthingspink.org, all things powerful, inspiring, noteworthy, and kind. And that is what we do. We connect people and resources, and just shed love and light, because I really believe that people need love. And when you illuminate it and you start sharing it with yourself and others, and it just starts growing, and this thing gets bigger and bigger. And yes, we all start walking in accountability. We start walking in wholeness, and the divine can show up and show out for you. So we love you all, people. And we're going to say bye to Facebook. And you'll see the playback come on after we end, and you see our snippet, and you can go to the YouTube Compassion in Action. All that's going to be looped together real soon for you. But we love you for hanging in here and being a part of the foundation to grow noteworthy engagement for people. Love y'all. All right. Woo!
Awesome. Good show. I got it.